Not very
I
good.
mean, I like it, but you know,
I mean,
you got the OG Neil backing you up.
If you're hungry, then yeah, I mean, but other than that, guys, we're gonna send it over to Neil and Sean.
Guys.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm still a little hungry because I couldn't even finish my beef stroganoff. And I'm always hungry. Like, I could, look, let's be real. Like, I even told Sean this sometimes. If I don't like it, it just takes me longer to eat it. 99 times out of 100. Today, I couldn't actually finish the beef stroganoff. I don't know how you felt about it.
I thought it was all right.
Okay, it's fair. Well, you know what wasn't all right? I've never, okay, I shouldn't say never, but I can't think of a time I've seen an IPO.
It's 2 and 2.
2 and 2, so it's 50.
Sharif likes it. I like it.
We need a tiebreaker.
You don't like it, and we're gonna wait to see what Joe says.
Yeah,
but he hasn't had the new one.
We already know that he hates it. We need like a more neutral tiebreaker. I think. No, but I can't, like, I don't know if you remember an IPO that opened up, did not even tick 1 penny in the money up from the open price. Like, not even, well, I guess there's sanding or something. Sometimes I like the smell of sawdust, which I kind of like. I kind of like that smell. Yeah, exactly. No, not even 1 cent for this beta. That's terrible. Terrible. And now trading lower.
Terrible trade.
Terrible. Terrible.
That trade is terrible.
Terrible. It's horror awful. It's both
we talked about some of
the
IPOs, not
yeah, it was never really
anymore.
It wasn't really. Yeah, wasn't interested in this. But it's an aerospace one too. Like you would think. No, it's like what's it like the electric aerospace nonsense. But anyways, disappointing IPO for sure. The market overall is trying to catch a bit of a bid after what has not been very good of a day. And if you want to blame anything, you could look at maybe the Palantir top. Maybe Michael Burry got this one right. I still maintain that over the weekend he literally said not to do anything about this being a market top. That was, and I'm gonna try and find the tweet because I'm so certain that I read it on Sunday, where it was like these are the reasons or something along the lines why this is a bit of a top, and then it was like something about sometimes the best action is to sit on your hands or do nothing. Right. Well.
He went short.
He went short, and for now, it is the right thing to do. Palantir, believe it or not, is above VWAP, despite the fact it's down 7%. So on the session, it's actually relatively strong, like from the open, but down 7% here, kind of settling out. And it probably will end up not more than 10% down the expected move. It did tag 10% down, but unless it very quickly revisits the low, it'll end up being less than a 10% dip, and also holding on to some prior highs there on Palantir, which is, again, something we talked about last night. Like, is it really that bad if it doesn't lose the prior high? I don't know. We'll see.
So we finally took a minute, but we did it. We had we were on this trade all morning. We were short the Qs, and we got out immediately once it broke. AMD, we'll talk about that. We're still in the money there. But this was a good trade. Like, we finally nailed the top on there. It gave us a top. It's too bad that I was not reloading right there, but there's the move down. I was a little bit higher. Like, I was just waiting for the top. Look, it was nervous hands as this move was coming to the downside, but it did happen. And we just put out a couple bids along the way near the closing, near the low of the day. Then down here, we got 111.50, which was an incredible trade to the short side there for the TQs. So we nailed that short, and yeah, more to come hopefully here this afternoon, and we can find some areas to maybe reload into this. Look, we've been calling short all day. The market finally does this. It's too bad that we had to, go through all of this where the market tried to get going and then it smacked it to the downside. So we made back half of what we lost on AMD with this huge move to the downside. I wish I was here to sort of reload these levels, but we'll see if it comes back up into 257 again there for AMD. So we shorted until eventually caught it and waited all the way down here and just started piecing it out when we got back, and now it's starting to make another move. I'm gonna wait to see if we can short some of these highs. But yeah, what a wild day today in the market. So down 1.6%. Let's see if we can get back to some positivity here. AMD tonight, so that's why we'll probably be looking at this into the close, and we'll see where that trades. But the implied move, actually, Adair sent it to me, on AMD was 7.5%. So we don't know what SMCI's is going to be. Kava's 14.
What's that?
Rivian tonight as well with a 9% mover. We should have. I'm going to invite Brian Shannon back tonight, as we didn't have him last week. We had big earnings. Today we still have big earnings as well. But look at Rivian, man. That is really getting kicked as well down to the downside, down 5% and still making lows there for Rivian. So we'll see how much they're losing per car tonight, and that should come in
Lots.
as well. Yeah, lots, I think, is the answer to that, Neil. So, but yeah.
What was the actual? It was no, there was.
It was 37,000
yeah,
or 57,000, something like that.
I thought it
their
had a
last
3 on it.
report.
I won't say
Amgen, SMCI, Pins, Rivian, Kava, Upstart tonight.
Those are all going to be movers. I was just looking for whatever. I'll look for it later. I was going to look for the percent expected move on SMCI.
Yeah,
but I was,
Bear has it marked as 0.
That was weird. I scrolled and couldn't find it just there on one website. I just got reloaded into Beyond Meat at the volume weighted average price. I'm still in Lumen a little bit earlier and then got reloaded in that one. But this one actually made the low and coming back into VWAP. I might give this one a pretty tight stop because I forgot we're already there. Yeah, Beyond Meat actually had, there was news today. I'll cop to the fact that I didn't read it, so don't at me. Oh, and Pete's, this was nasty. What happened to Papa John's is, yeah, this is an unfortunate one because Apollo withdrew their $64 bid. And what's terrible about this is, I mean, this is a stock that was upward trending when the market was going down all day, at least from the open, or at least from the tops, and this was looking pretty good. The thing that really, I think you can take away from this is you really need to have stops. Like imagine a scenario where you were playing the upward trend after the news here and you didn't use a stop order. You stepped away for a couple seconds to go to the bathroom. You're like, yeah, whatever, I'm good. Look at it go. And then all of a sudden, boom, rinsed 18% to the downside. And it barely even caught a bid here. I was actually thinking maybe there could be a bounce off of like when they first announced this, and it didn't even hold 41 bucks. So it's actually underneath where this all started on Domino's. I don't know if there's going to be an obvious support level. 39 makes some sense. I mean, if Apollo liked them and someone wanted to take them private before, you got to figure a bid will come in here at some point. But let this one calm down. That's nasty. You got to use stop orders. I don't care what your style is. That could ruin, that's like how you ruin accounts, or blow up accounts, I should say. Yeah, especially if you're thinking that as a buyout, and all of a sudden, like, whoops, see ya. Yeah, never leave your stations without stop orders. Yeah, the NASDAQ looking to bounce off of 13.5 again here as we can't quite get to VWAP. Yeah, hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully because, I mean, I am short, but the NASDAQ down 1.72. We had that request this morning as, do we think we can get to 2+%? And yeah, it looks like we are on path % down in the NASDAQ, which is fine. It's more Bitcoin that's really getting absolutely pummeled here today, down to 101 right now, and just yuck. Did it break 100 yet? Because I saw Nvidia broke. Maybe it came close, man. It must have. 1 second. Oh yeah, I can just type it in here. Hold on a second. We can, yeah, Bitcoin. Over here, type in here Bitcoin, just to see what it looks like today for crypto. All right, a 1 minute, yes. I see it, yeah. Yep, 99.9, 99.9 or so on Coinbase, but basically got bought up. But it was right there. It looks like I see it, Neil, at about 135. So what's interesting? 135. Our quote here at Real Trading. Yeah, we have most of the books. Like if I pull it up, like here, I'll just pull. I mean, this is only Coinbase. I bet you if I look somewhere else, it's like not. There's Kraken. Right. Let me look somewhere else. Let me look at Binance. Like it's not going to be everything, but it didn't break 100 on hours. It broke on Binance, which means that we're missing a few. I don't see Binance, BSTP. Just kind of looking at the books that we have, I actually don't see Binance on ours. So maybe that's where it broke. But it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I mean, it bounced, but it's. So that might be a short for this afternoon. Let's pay attention to see what BTC wants. All right, Sharif is ready to rock and roll. So you guys put the requests in. Let's go talk about the symbols you want us to talk about, not just what we're looking at, but what you want us to do. It's the rundown. Let's go, Sharif.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are locked and loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there, those are not the right ones, I'll fix those in a second, is to get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you got to throw in that $ before the ticker of your choice, and make sure to vote every day, though. Let's go and look at all 4 major averages before we start a look at the rundown over here. And yes, All four major averages well in negative territory. The NQ down 1 3/4%. The ES faring a little bit better, down 1% and barely holding on to 6,800. The Dow, the best performing of the four major averages, down less than 2/3%, but still holding on to 47,000 for now. The Russell 2000, getting clipped as well, down 1.4%, trading at about 2,444. The first, though, name as decided by you guys, META, Meta. The blood continues on this name since the earnings report, guys. We were trading at 755 before said report came in, and we are down now 17% here on Meta in a matter of days. No real headline, I guess. This is the only one. Meta launching a new WhatsApp app for the Apple Watch. Obviously not market moving, guys. Meta down 0.92.
I feel like Meta's chart reminds me of, everyone see the 40-year-old version? And you know when he's talking to the older Indian guy, and they're going back and forth
at the video store.
Yeah, no, at the video store, and he's talking trash, and he's like, yeah, when I pull the Kirpan out of my pocket, I cannot put it back until I draw blood. That's what Meta's chart feels like. Like, we can't break these major moving averages and bounce until we draw some blood. And that's what's happening over here in Meta. Well, I'm just saying, like, look, Meta.
I think, they're not blood now, 17%. When does the blood start?
Well, I think there already is.
Yeah.
And that said, we already talked about how it was a good quarter and they make boatloads of money. And there's some concern, people are concerned about, advertising is not the best way to leverage AI, but that's what they do. And they are, again, they're printing money. They don't like the spend that's happening. Look, I don't think the glasses in the VR is necessarily a short-term thing. But at the end of the day, a lot of times we don't see, we don't think it makes sense, a certain product. We're like, well, that's kind of goofy. No one's going to use that. And then 10 years later, everyone's using it. So, I don't want to completely write them off because they seem to know a little bit about what they're doing. That said, I missed my stink bid today because it bounced where I left it in. I might still get to 22s. And I plan to be DCAing into this 20% here. Probably, I don't know where the next 20% will be, to be honest with you. I haven't really thought about that until I get the first one. And then I'll probably put another 20% somewhere if it gets down already 600. But for now, this is a name that just hasn't really caught a base. Bit of a bottom today that's not breaking, which is good because a bunch of other things broke those lows. And an outside chance that it were to break out off VWAP. Don't know what actually causes it to do that this afternoon. It's barely even moving as we speak, but certainly something to watch, right? Like, it could easily flip the script, get a double bottom, and then start breaking away. But unfortunately for Meta, a lot of profit takers here.
We've made back 2/3 of our day, and part of that is with AMD, and AMD right now is cranking even lower. So we're just starting to get out now near the bottom again of AMD. We just take another fill right there at 52.25, 252.25 there to get some more orders. So for my good friend today, AMD. Now, we got hit on it early, but it's been a good retracement back. Yeah, look, I mean, I've already said my piece on these glasses. I don't think they're a thing. But at the end of the day, like, what we think doesn't really matter. Price action is telling the whole story. It's now 4 or 5 straight down days, and that will probably cap off with another move right here. I mean, imagine it actually starts to follow the NASDAQ and actually gets hit. How low can Meta go? I mean, we're just bouncing right now nicely, cleanly off of 625. I mean, it only gets to 627. So I would say that's a long until we're proven wrong. And that might be tomorrow, if it gaps underneath, right? We said that today a lot of the stocks are opening up and gapping one way or the other, right? And then you come in, and today we were firing shots at all these different names, and it was like down 4%, down 3%, down 5%. Like, they're just all getting hit. And then we had a little bit of a rally to start the day to sort of like reward some of those dip buyers that had some faith. And then it came all the way back. Within 2 hours of open, we were already right back at the open price. So, the celebratory victory for Meta wasn't lasted that long. And right now it's basically flat. And we're still down 1%. So yeah, I'm not overly excited about this trade. So we'll have to just wait to see what winds up happening. I think 600 probably has a magnet. So, Neil, 622 is not far away from that. Either way, you're going to get filled, and we're just going to hope for the best.
I said this to Ozan.
We have no idea where it's going.
Ozan just asked, well, look, why don't you just, like, who cares about, like, that extra amount? Why don't you just buy it where it is? If it holds this low, like Meta, it doesn't actually break this low of the day and I miss it by just a little bit, I'll probably just go in and buy it in the 30s tomorrow for that 20%. You're correct. But the day isn't over. My bid is still live. Like, what if the market flushes? I'm still sitting there at $622.22. Like, the market could still flush for the rest of the afternoon and that order fills. So I'll at least give it a chance that that happens. And if it doesn't and we make a higher low tomorrow, then I'll probably end up buying it tomorrow at whatever the price might be. You're right. Like, I don't get too picky about it, but I did pick that price and the day isn't over, so I might as well leave it in there. Let's talk about some Palantir, which oddly enough was a dip buy at the open.
Great report, Neil, but looks like we were a little extended there for the market's liking, down about 8%, but off the lows, 185.56 low. Guys, we moved up on the algo spike yesterday into that almost 222. Good headline here. In addition to the earnings report for Palantir, they strike a deal, an AI partnership deal with a Dubai firm out there called Ether, dubbed Ether, and they're going to harness Palantir's AI analytics for public and private sector use out there. Separately, of course, we got word that Michael Burry, possibly in a short position here via the purchase of puts, he did actually go ahead and deny that, I believe, on social media. So PLTR guys, trying to hold on to 190.
Yeah, this was, you know what? Like, I always talk about the SSR trade if a stock ticks 10% down, and it's more than just if the stock ticks 10%. Give me 1 second here. Amazon and Perplexity story, but it doesn't seem like it's moving. All right, I didn't really catch the entire thing, but I heard Amazon Perplexity doesn't look like it's moving.
I don't think it was anything.
Right, yeah, so it's not moving, not a big deal. So like Palantir went 10% down, but it wasn't like the gold standard SSR trade. Like there was one heavy candle, and then there was like an immediate tag 10%, and then there's your like $4 into the volume weighted average price. It didn't really give you time to bleed more than 1 3-minute candle, which is not really what I was expecting. I kind of thought if it fell at the open, you'd bleed for at least a few candles down and then revert. So I wasn't ready for that bounce. I expected if it broke the low, it would maybe be a little bit deeper than that. But to keep things into perspective here, until this is not true, Palantir has bounced off the prior all-time high, where like the one that was like this, like the high 180s, right? Like it was 89 here, and then this lower high was like 88, and we were consolidating there. Well, we're bouncing off that level. So for now, regardless of what you think, you can make the argument that they sold this off on a good, on a quality growth and all that stuff. And that signals a bit of a turn. Until it actually breaks this prior high, then it's held the structure of the long. So for now, Palantir, like I would almost be like, I'd be more inclined to short this thing if it was breaking down underneath, like say here tomorrow, like just call it like around this 186, 187. Like if it's breaking down under there, then you got your continuation. Now it's in just bouncing and sitting in the middle of no man's land. I did choose Lumen as the proxy because like just the thing, like Lumen was at some levels where I'm like, okay, well if it doesn't break above here, then I just want to be shorting it when it breaks down. So like unlike Palantir, like where I felt you'd be playing with it in the middle of nowhere, Lumen was a bit different, and as far as I'm concerned, they were up because of a deal with Palantir, so if that Palantir goes down, whatever. Shorted this one to 0 success, well, mild success, at least the first one, the next two not, and then when it finally broke trend under VWAP, go figure, right? The back side of the trade being better than the front side of the trade, now it's headed back in toward those lows. But you know, like a lot of shorts this morning, this was one where a little bit early for it and then wait till it really was breaking down. And if Palantir follows through, I think Lumen has a long way to drop as well. But it's to be determined whether Palantir wants more than this one leg. We'll find that out, I think, tomorrow, because it doesn't look like it wants a low today.
Yeah, I kind of think Palantir does push to the lows here today. I mean, underneath the 200, underneath VWAP, underneath the 50-period moving average, things starting to turn down. Market, I mean, if the market goes upside, then obviously we're going to cover most of our positions here, including AMD and all that, and I'll talk about where those outs are in just a couple minutes. But we were not far away from this low. But remember, everything got really rinsed early on everything. So we saw big sell imbalances. So the next time we see that, let's let things calm down. And then once we feel like there's a bottom, then we can hit it back upside. But I mean, the point about all this is Palantir's expected move was 10%. It's only down 8% right now. I know Alex Karp was out there trying to sort of, swell the masses a little bit here, calm them down, that it was down this much. But I think Brendan did this experiment before, and that was just like showing what Palantir looked like on the monthly chart. Unfortunately, ours won't show you everything since the move over to the NASDAQ. But, I mean, this is what Palantir looks like. And I mean, it's just a straight fire. I wouldn't be surprised if we do wind up resting somewhere between 175 and 185 before this next leg higher. Congratulations if you're able to get something out near the top up there. That was a fantastic trade yesterday as the earnings were released. And, even 210, 205. I told you I got a little bit out at 200 on the way up just in case something like this happened. And it's not even that dramatic. Like, I'm already considered buying some back if we get into this 175. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and be obsessed with PE. I mean, if we looked at PEs, then we wouldn't have, 1,400% in our accounts for Nvidia and for all these other names, right? So it's just one of those things where you got to kind of take the good with the bad. And this is a huge growth company. And remember, the United States, I believe, is going to take a stake in this company at some point. So let's just wait to see if that does come through with Palantir. And
do they need the capital? I don't think they do.
They don't need anything. It's just the U.S. government do whatever they want. I don't know. I think Alex would do that because he'll probably rally the company.
Well, I'm only saying because like LAC, okay, they probably need some capital. Intel needs some capital. I just wonder, like, would they? Yeah, like
just for national security.
Palantir could raise.
Yeah, maybe they don't.
I have no idea. I always feel like it always makes sense when the company that really does need the capital. Although, whatever, I'm not really for government investing in private companies. I'm just. Like I said, I don't think they need it.
It's just another tailwind.
The monthly you were talking about it right here. I think we counted this yesterday. I believe it was 8 straight up months in a row after one red, and then it was like 9, maybe even 10 Tuesdays. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Impressive. It's the start of the month, but you've got, like, just think about it. Even a reasonable pullback. Like the one red month it had was probably like look at the month after with ridiculous buying opportunity. I don't know that will be true if we have a red month, but the last time it kind of like 155 in here and then 120. What would even be a reasonable pullback on a monthly chart? It's hard to even identify it. Even if it went 25%, that's still very much good on a monthly level.
Here's a question. Would you rather hold Robinhood at these levels or Palantir at these levels?
At this price, hold on. I haven't looked at Robinhood today, so let me actually.
Nor have I.
No, I haven't looked at the stock, so I'm in my assumption. Load, PC load letter. That's not an easy question. That's not an easy question. This is forever or for like a year? Is there a time limit on this? Do we care?
1 year.
If it's 3 months. If it's forever.
No, not forever. Forever is a cop-out.
Oh,
let's just say 3 months.
Yeah, for 3 months, I'll probably say Robinhood.
Okay.
For 3 months, I'd feel a little bit better about Robinhood, a little bit more detached from like the AI thing. Just because I feel as if Palantir could pull back like 40% and probably still be fine long term. Whereas like the structure, like Robinhood has had some, like on the daily, like some pretty decently healthy pullbacks. It still hasn't lost like the 50, all that kind of stuff. It just feels a little bit less. They're both ridiculously extended. But I just feel like you've seen a really big topping tail candle on Palantir, and Hood hasn't technically done anything as absurd as that. But like Hood, watch, if Hood breaks the top tomorrow and does a topping tail candle, it would be exactly the same setup. But it's pretty close. I'd have to say Robinhood just based on the chart, really.
All right, Sharif, Hertz time.
Yeah, what a move up for Hertz, guys. I was trading this on the midday, and it's still trying to reclaim 7. It reported Q3 earnings, and they topped estimates, guys. Revenue, more than $1 billion ahead of what the street was expecting. They printed $2.48 billion in revenue, beating the $1.4 billion expected by the street. Despite the fact that revenue did decline 4% year over year, they're also adjusted earnings per share coming in at 12 pennies. The street was looking for 2 cents, guys. So a big move up here to the tune of 40%.
Sometimes that's how it is. The squeeze plays decide to go when the market goes down. Congratulations to Hertz. I actually paid for locates and then didn't get an opportunity, which is fine. Never even used them. Kind of thought if it broke 7 and got into at least here like 750, for sure like the 8 level would look for a bit of a turn. 42% short float and up 40%. doesn't really look like it's doing much. So rule one, like, oh, even if I think it's made a top, that's kind of a boring top that it made, so I wouldn't want to short this right now. So I think you give this one the, well, first of all, I wouldn't buy it here anyways, but certainly I needed to do something a little bit more parabolic to press at least into 750 to look for some kind of reversion trade on Hertz. It's just a squeeze on day one, so I never think it makes sense to do more than take some profit if you have it, and then wait and see what happens for tomorrow, because you could be right back at $6 and nobody should be surprised. You could be underneath $6 under these moving averages on Hertz. Really, it's a squeeze, so play it for what it is. And if we see a parabolic break, I'm kind of looking for like $7.50 or $8 to do a trend break short. It just doesn't seem like it's moving anymore.
He's got some more AMD near those, well, near 353. Okay, so yeah, short flow rate here is 43%. So that's for Hertz. So Hertz Global, they're better than expected Q3 financial results. Everything has concluded, and there it goes right up to the upside. And of course, you're going to go down. Still no PE. They still aren't making any money, but it doesn't seem to matter these days. But there's Hertz right there, 43%, wherever it was. Here it is. 43% short float. So I think there's more legs to this move, actually. We remember, it was a 1 or 2, 3 days move for a lot of these runners, right, including Beyond Meat and whatnot, and then we've come right back in. So I still think there's potential for these trades to even continue a little bit more. But look, we've already been up here before, so I don't think it continues too far past $8. So if you're happy with 7, take it. Right now on Hertz. I mean, they liked the quarter. I guess it was better than expected. The shorts, whoever didn't cover, getting squeezed today, all the way to the upside. I would say $7, $8 as a maximum there for Hertz. And, people got burned on Beyond Meat by still holding that one, as that's down to $1.40. So, we still have that one to talk about.
Well, at least they're not going bankrupt. Well, Hertz isn't going bankrupt, are they?
Well, they already did. And then
they came out of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, AMD time.
Yeah, Sean, they report after the bell tonight. We'll get to that in a second, but nice analyst commentary here from Bank of America analyst Vivek Arya saying AMD is among the top beneficiaries of the multi-year AI infrastructure build-out. He's pointing to a decade-long cycle fueled, of course, by hyperscaler spending on advanced AI chips. Here's what we're looking at in terms of, the expected move. We're looking at a plus or minus 7.2% expected move. Give you a comparison from last time. We dropped 1.4% negative after the last earnings report with volume, options volume, that is a healthy 529,000 contracts being spoken about there. We expect AMD to report at about 415 with consensus estimates for EPS at $1.17 on revenue, boys, of 8.72 million, down 2 1/3.
Over under that 7.2%. Direction doesn't matter. I'm kind of feeling over, but that's, I don't know if that's the only reason I'm saying that is because it's been consolidating inside. It's a downward, whatever we call this, I guess. What do we call that? Like a downward sloping pennant or whatever. I'm not a charter market technician. I'm sure there's a name for this, right? And you guys will tell me what the name for that is. It's been a down channel since making the high, but a very respectful channel. Like it's just essentially like $7 or $8. Every day the range has been $7 or $8. So I would call that a consolidation at a high going into earnings. So 7% seems a bit light to me because you break higher and after this, it rips some faces off after the way the market's traded today. And if you break lower, like the gap is all the way down to like 238 or so. Like that right there, like you're talking a pretty solid move. And then even this bottom here, 225, seems almost reasonable. So anyways, I would take the over on the percent move, but that's neither here nor there. I had 1 trade level, but 3 trades on AMD, 2 for 3. Essentially just broke trend. Because of that channel, I wanted to short the pops because it was making lower highs the way through. It didn't actually get to 260, but made a high here. Broke trend at 256, shorted that 3 times. I shorted to VWAP, and VWAP alone, obviously, it did better than that. But yeah, AMD, I'd be concerned about this. You break channel down, and there's a lot of room for this to fall. Like a lot of room for this to fall and still be in an upward, like 210, I said 230, but it's more like 226, and then even these like low 240s. Lots of room for this to go if they miss. And remember, more expensive than Nvidia on a PE basis going into this.
All right, we'll talk about my trade in a minute, but each year there's over 3.8 million concussions reported in the United States, yet there is still no FDA approved. Well, now NYC listed OGen or Agenix is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access, with the concussion treatment market projected to reach $9 billion by 2027. Oragenics is uniquely positioned to, of course, lead the way. Learn more, scan that QR code, and schedule a meeting today. Thank you, Oragenics. Yeah, look, for me, now we've made back more than half of what we lost, but we just kept on shorting this thing and didn't believe it and was pretty stubborn with it. We had caught one back right there. It was basically right in here when we started to break through this 200 period moving average. And I was just like, nah, it's not going to do that. It's not going to go from 248 all the way straight up $5, is it? Well, yeah, it went up straight up $7, if not almost $9, all the way to the very top there. But, you know, our patience eventually helped, and it helped take these kind of trades and then bring it all the way back down in. So, you know, I would have scalped it out if I really thought that we weren't going to go lower, but we did go lower, so we're going to pat ourselves on the back for that, but not for this. So, again, we'll be down on AMD today, but it'll be a reasonable number. It wasn't very reasonable early, but it is now. So, you know, happy, obviously, with the way I performed here on AMD. The second half of the trade, but the first half obviously needs a little bit of work. But hey, man, that's trading. If you're not here to try to make money, then the door is exit left, right? So we tried and we got some back right there. So that's what's going to happen, and we're going to be down on AMD today, but a comfortable amount. So looking forward to the earnings report tonight. I think it's going to be a banger. I'm going to go under the 7% just because of Palantir and of some of these moves. They seem to be like, you might get a dramatic move early, but then I wonder if it's just going to sort of level off. These analysts are like really good. And I feel like these numbers are now within like a couple $1 million when we're talking about billions. So I feel like their quarter will probably come in, they'll probably beat, then it will be all about the guide, and then we'll have to wait to see what they think and, you know, if there's any China tailwinds or headwinds that they wind up mentioning. So look, I'm excited for the AMD report. I think we all should be as we, you know, wait for more opportunities to trade this market. So yeah, excited to look for some AMD possibilities. And I'm still currently short, looking for some more 252s. I mean, I want to hold this into the close, to be honest with you. My next bid is 251 right now. So I believe we go lower. So let's wait to see if that is the case. Looking to go short here on, you know, possibly a 255 level for AMD, and otherwise let's hold it. We're now $4 in the money on AMD. We don't have many shares left, and $3.5 in the money on this futures short as that's coming back in as well. So yeah, man, what was rough early, we brought it back to reasonable right here late. So life of a trader. You know, that's what winds up happening. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, before we go back to Beyond, go up to the desk for Beyond Meat, we'll answer this one. Easy answer for you, Christoph Ocean. Look, for pizza, you actually got it right. They had an offer. It was from Apollo. Apollo was offering $64 a share to take them private. The board had not accepted the offer, and they withdrew it. It's that simple. Now, I find it, I'm glad I didn't try to go long this. I find it at least a little bit surprising that it couldn't even hold on to the prices that it was at before the initial bid. That's not good. Typically, it's got to be, I'm sure it's frustrating for shareholders in this particular case, because it's like, well, if this is what happens to the stock when the offer is pulled, why don't we want $64 per share? Because that sounds a heck of a lot better than 38 right now. So it's kind of still unwinding. Maybe it'll, I don't know if it'll even catch a bid. So yeah, that's exactly right. This is one, you just really hope that the stock can recover so it doesn't turn out that the board should have been more willing to take this offer before Apollo pulled it, because not looking good for Domino's. Actually, what's weird about it, we had Domino's, I mean, we don't do Domino's very often. It's not like our go-to or anything, but like our local place, they were like closed or something. They weren't open on like a Friday or something, and we got Domino's, and my daughter still liked it. So
yeah, daughter and kids will.
I'm not the biggest fan of the pizza myself, and I'm definitely not a fan of Beyond Meat burgers.
Ooh, let's go have a look.
All right, guys, last on the list here, BYND. Yeah, Neil short right now. And yeah, this one was actually a great short, popping up into that $1.52 on this headline here. They launched the latest Beyond Burger at the Hard Rock Cafe. So they announced they're going to provide, of course, their latest burger at the Hard Rock Cafe, and the burger will be offered as a swap for any beef burgers on the Hard Rock Cafe's core and kids menus, enabling guests, of course, to enjoy their go-to burger option. I'll pass.
It's weird. Like I was just telling Sean, like my daughter actually, for a change, she actually prefers Pizza Hut. But we have
Americans don't know what that is.
There's a couple of local places that I prefer because you get like a local. It's better. Sometimes we'll just make our own, which is easily the way to go. We did that all the time during COVID and not so much anymore. I don't eat Beyond Meat. Actually, I shouldn't. I had this when. We ate it on the show. In 2020. Yeah, we did. We ordered it one time.
Okay, yeah.
Beyond Meat was going ham during COVID. And I think we ordered like A&W because they had the Beyond Meat burger, and a bunch of us, we ate it. I think we had it on the show, or at least we had it during lunchtime. All thought it was okay, but I don't think anybody was like, I'm going to get this a bunch of times. At the end of the day, this is maybe they can stave going bankrupt, right? Like they're going to try it. There was the dead cat bounce. It went all the way close to like $8, and it's still trying to find the back end. I still think like that seems to me to be $1. So until it gets there, like it's been slowly fading down to the $1 level. I think it might be worth a defense whenever it does. Just short to the prior high. I shorted into VWAP, that didn't work. Now I'm short again at VWAP into what I'm not the low of the day, but like the open range low. And if it breaks that, I'll hold on a small piece. But it feels to me like this is going to get to $1. Maybe there's another dead cat bounce of the dollar when it does. But I can't remember the last time a company that was battling bankruptcy had this kind of a squeeze, didn't hold it, and things ended up working out. If it's happened, point me to the stock. I can't remember it. Yeah, it doesn't look good for them. Maybe that dollar level can look a little bit enticing to some buyers. And that's not even the low. Like the low is actually 50 cents or something on. Actually, I think it is 50 cents on Beyond Meat. 50.
It's 50.
What's that guy at?
I was just waiting for AMD to hit. I'm bidding 21s right there. We just got into 40s right now, so a couple more pennies lower, and we'll take out another piece here. We have about 10% left. It's not. What's up to Showtime in the chat? Was wondering how many shares I had left. Still good, but obviously not as many as we had previously. I'm bidding 21s. That's 21. 21 Savage. 21 degrees. Blue Jays win 2-1.
That would be nice.
There it is. Yeah, that was the right one. All right. There it goes. Thank you, Isaiah Kanafalefe. If you ever have, like, you're known as 3 digits, not good. That's my new thing right there. All right, there it is, man. Boom. Look, you have to believe in something, and we believe in AMD short. So there it is. We could have covered up here. We could have covered more. We wind up holding, and now, boom goes the dynamite as we get down into the downside of AMD here. Finally, man. Like, looking back, and I did the math. Like when I went swimming, I was like, if I get 252s on my full default, then I'll be back to flat on the stock. But the problem is I came back and I just started getting out, I started getting out at 254 because it was a big net opportunity for me because as I told you guys, we had gotten hit on this. I was like, okay, let's just get out at VWAP. Then VWAP broke. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, let's get out at 53s right there. And then all of a sudden it dripped down again and we started getting out at 252s. So it's too bad that we didn't hold the whole kit and caboodle there, but we did good enough, man. And we're really proud of what we had done here today. And this is called perseverance, right? You have to have this as a trader and have the ability to get back on your horse, right? Luckily enough that I have a big shutdown, so it's not that big of a deal. But, we had lost into here a decent amount and now made back more than half. Of what we had lost now. And part of the problem is that we had covered. And some of these outs were like on good amount of shares. So we kept on sort of getting shut down. We had one move that was pretty good. Our initial short was great. And then we got stopped out. We maybe should have stopped there. I really feel like stopping in this area, 251 to 252 is where we should have stopped and then waited for this. But you never know where the top's going to come through until you actually see it. So that was a good movement there. And the same thing happened with the futures, which is why we have 3 fills right into here. It came upside, we fill, and then dropped down Appreciate that, Joseph, over there by hitting the bangs. But that's, or Neil, or Andre, I guess, did.
They're
Thank you,
testing something?
Andre, for doing that. But yeah, anyways, as we continue to go, here goes the TQs right now at day's low. So the futures don't seem to want to do anything right now but go lower. The Nasdaq's going to be down that 2%, and your boy is short. So happy with all of this. AMD now $5, $4 in the money on the TQs, and we're doing great making back what we had lost earlier. So let's go. We don't have enough shares to make it all back, but learning more and more every single day, and there goes the downside play for AMD. Like I said, I wish we didn't cover anything, but we did, and no spilt milk here. Maybe we can even get lower, man. I told you, my next bid is at 251s, and here it comes in faster than we had thought. So let's get ready for this on AMD. Really a great hold and a great move to the downside ahead of what should be obviously a great earnings day.
Well, we'll see if it's a great earnings day. It'll 100% be entertaining. I know the aftermarket show will be a blast. I just kind of feel like you saw what's going to happening right now. You've seen even with beats across the board. Like, show me a name that beat and held up today, right? Like, what was actually HIMS?
Well, it's down 2%.
Well, HIMS. I think last I checked, HIMS actually was still up, but I think that puts some risk on it. So for the longs, I think some people are going to be at least a little bit concerned. I have my eyeballs on. I paid for locates on beta, which is, as I said, they're like I don't know, like what do they call them? Aerospace manufacturer, and they electric vertical takeoff craft, which is cool. That's what they make. But I'm looking at the trend, and if it breaks the trend, I'm going to take a shot at this one to the south side. But it hasn't done it yet, so it is what it is. If it breaks down, like again, this is sort of like when you see something that's upward trending, like wait for it to break a trend and then try to jump into it. I just heard something about Chewy, but I'm going to be looking at this beta this afternoon. Not very alpha, which is one of the worst puns you can come up with, but it is up. It rinsed everybody. Like there's 0% chance that I could have made money going long the way that we trade IPOs, even despite the fact that this is going to the upside, because you're not going to take the opening print at 34 and holding it all the way. Like my stop's not going to be $30 on a 34 open. And even if it was, that would be insane, because you couldn't even get it out. You'd be getting it out for like $1 win when you risked 4. So looking for this to break down. Not bad in terms of its return, but with the market heading lower, I'd rather play this in the direction of the market. So we're going to look for that to break that trend line. As always, everybody, always make the reminder, and don't put any symbols in yet. You know what I'm about to do. Wait till I hit this, and then I'll do a fresh start now so you can type your symbols in. Just a reminder, if you want us to cover something, if you're interested in a symbol, or just now, Wayne Griffin just typed AMD low risk puts. Put $sign AMD next time, and then, watch, I just did, and then AMD pops up here. And then we can see AMD, well, now there's 2 of us, Rocket Lab, and Micron, Tesla, Oklo, MSAI, Masai. Every time I see that ticker, I just sort of think of our former GM. But anyways, Raptors GM. But man, keep those symbols coming in. Meta, how is Meta still already at the top? All morning this was at the top.
Loving Meta.
But why? It's what's weird? It doesn't seem like it's a stock that a lot of people trade. It doesn't usually move all that much. It's not the biggest percent mover either today. So very surprising there. IBIT I see there, of course. Bitcoin is back underneath 101. If it gets to 100, believe me, we'll let you know. So 100K and 740 right in there. ETH at 32.7. 32.7 on ETH. BMNR must be getting its you-know-what kicked in.
And those that invested in BMNR. Whenever you get these talking heads out here pumping up, their particular equity or whatever it is. I mean, BMNR was a Tom Lee just pump and dump. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's still in it. I don't know. We should try to, anybody that's still in it would know more than me if he still is or not. I really hope that there's been some disclosures there, and I'm sure there has been. The SEC's on it, not me. I don't care. These guys are rich anyways. They just get richer and richer. It's really crazy. But you're going to find out that he's exited it all, most likely. And then all of a sudden you go, what happened to your 5,000 call, my guy? All right, there goes bull right now. This is a lot of bull in this name, as this now is, I believe, at all-time lows, as WeBull just continues to get absolutely punked down to the downside. I have, 1018 as past high for WeBull. This is what it looks like on the E signal chart right there, just boom, right down into the downside. Past low, 1018, broke that early today. We came in, it was already under 10 bucks. There goes WeBull, man, pretty bad for sure. I bought some a couple weeks ago, and it's just being straight downside, probably around here, around 11 bucks, but straight down. I think it was like 11.30 or something. Straight down for WeBull right now. Going to have to wait on that. I believe SoFi is such a better name. So WeBull will have to wait on that one, and will not be putting any more money into this. I could see this one getting even chopped in half from here, WeBull. So I'm going to definitely stay away from that one. You see the dollar right now up 0.33 on your chart, and you know what's going to be saved today?
The VIX is probably doing okay.
Probably nothing right here. This is the technology sector, very red, but it looks like for now Berkshire, the smartest guys in the room, once again sitting on all of this cash. So you can quite see that Berkshire right now, with much money to deploy into the market here. We'll have to wait to see what happens. We had Michael Noss coming on talking opposite of that yesterday, that when they have a lot of cash, that the market hasn't necessarily been near lows or anything like that. So we'll have to wait to see if they deploy some cash at some of these levels right now. So Berkshire up 2.5%. And again, they have some safety names, right? There's Coke is up 0.63. The banks are up today. Probably insurance is up. So Berkshire, definitely playing the ETF game.
Also, Apple's not that bad.
Yeah, and Apple's not that bad.
Apple's up.
Whoopsies. Apple's not that bad today either. But that's Goldman Sachs. Yeah, here's some of the electronic technology stocks. There's Apple Plus today, which I love Apple, man. I mean, that's a. We last bought some of that at 212, and that wasn't even that long ago. That's going to be a good one. There's AMD, Broadcom, some of these tech names, just especially in the AI sort of space. We haven't even talked about C3 AI in forever. Consumer durables, obviously it's Tesla, Ford, and GM puking all over that sector.
They're not in any index.
No, definitely. What, Apple? No, they're not in any indexes. And then that's about it, man. The healthcare technology spot, we've seen Eli Lilly break through 900 today, which is great. That's at 902. So I think everybody's pretty happy with the performance of, some of the biotech names recently, as well as AbbVie up 2%, BMY, Bristol Myers, Pfizer with the downside play there, as we had some Michael Burry talk about that name. And then energy just sort of holding on today as XOM up, CVX down. Marathon was down 10% early, and I asked Adara about it, and it was earnings. So Marathon has battled all the way back now, only down 6%. So and then Occidental down 2%. So there's going to be value in all of these at some point. But man, we are just trading and just watching out for this market. We did take a bid there at 50s, 51.50 on AMD, looking for lower over there.
And we'll give a shout out to Beta Pro by GlobeX, because when the market's moving like this, we're going to have some exciting news for sophisticated traders that are in Canada. And that is Beta Pro by GlobeX is the largest provider of leveraged inverse and inverse leverage ETFs. And they've just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs, including the 3-time bull, 3-time bear exposure to S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. On top of that, you're getting a special fee rebate, drop-in fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st of this year. And on top of this, U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for a more pure performance and exposure. So if you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3xdaily to learn more. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you as well. I just saw something going a little parabolic, which is Chewy.
They raised prices.
Yeah, they raised prices. There was also an upgrade. I don't know, Mizuho, it looks like, with an upgrade as well today. So Chewy is something bucking the trend. Well, okay, bucking the trend right now. Obviously, once I flip to the daily chart, you'll see that it is absolutely in a downward trend. But this would be a bottoming tail candle on Chewy and a potential. Could this actually break the downtrend? Was it a slight downtrend? It's looking like it's trying to go. Let's go to Adair.
I just want to let you guys know here, I mentioned earlier IBM, moving my screen here. IBM, apparently, we know they were reportedly set to lay off some people or limit their workforce by over 1,000 people. Now we have comments coming from the company. Q4 action apparently is going to be impacting a low single-digit percentage of their global workforce. Some U.S. roles might be affected, but overall their U.S. employment is expected to remain flat year over year. So it looks like IBM is commenting on that reported workforce reduction, or I guess reduction of roles is how it was worded in the Bloomberg report initially. If they get more details, I'll let you know. Back to you.
IBM, yet another name to pull back off of highs.
Yeah, IBM still has a way to go.
No, it's like, if you look at most of the charts of these tech names, like none of them, that's why we said, like the reason I used the example of Meta was just how, relative to some of the other peers, like how much it's actually fallen from that top. It just looks distinctly different. So anyways, beta, whatever, I'll just call them beta. I forget the actual full name of the stock, which is fine. Broke trend, there's it kind of closing underneath that trend line. There's the prior bar, so I'm in at 69s. And I want to get some evens as well. So put an even in there, get my price will be about 80 or so, so I'll be risking 50 pennies. Looking for not VWAP, but right around, like it opened at 34. And so the consolidation bottom off of that makes some sense for a target instead of VWAP. And if I see it bounce clean off the halt level, sorry, that's not a halt level, it's the open price. If I see it bounce clean off the open price at 34, I'd probably duck out of it. But yeah, what I was getting at with IBM, because I like IBM, I think it's a great stock. Is it's still like it's a stock that broke out recently, and like Palantir, kind of just pulling back into the prior high, which is distinctly different from Meta, which did not recently break its high, and has put in consecutive lower highs in the last few months, and is breaking down. Like this is over the last few months bearish. IBM could still, even Palantir, like they can still hold some higher lows and end up in a bit of a bullish pattern, which is what we should like. At least I think. There's always bears out there like Big Spile, who always want the stock market to go down. I presume with the assumption that we all want the stock market to go up, and individual names as well.
Most people are.
I think it's a safe assumption.
Most people are net long. All right, so, on that note, we take another fill. Oops, that's the TQs. Sorry, oh, I have to refresh my blotter, apparently. Yeah, so we take some more out right there. 251.50 again. I mean, we bounced off of that level one more time there on AMD. So just taking more outs as we continue to go, man. It's 550 in the money, so we're going to do that. Take some more out there because we can. And that's, like I said, we're trading a little bit. We have some shares left still. Now under 10%, probably like 8% or so left on that one. I just put a stop on the TQs if we take the 50 period moving average. So if we take 112, let's just get out. I mean, we could see a little bit of a late day rally potentially in the market. And if we do see that, then yeah, let's get out on that one. I'm just going to wait for, again, 251.30 on AMD. Hopefully that can come in and when we'll hit it, right? Amazon has been quite a downside move here today for AMZN. There's really been no relief whatsoever in this name, as you can see. So downside continuing here for Amazon, now down 2%, just really never caught a bid at all. I mean, obviously, the first half hour of the day, everything caught bids, but since then, Amazon really hasn't had any movement back to the upside whatsoever. So Amazon continues to get flushed. So does Microsoft as well. Like Microsoft there, nice downside. Sorry, it wasn't Microsoft I meant to talk about, but Microsoft has made a move back upside. There was another mega cap name that hasn't battled back yet, but there goes Microsoft, actually only down 0.69. So it was Microsoft strength as well as Apple strength that has really held this market together, despite it being down 2%. I mean, Apple is still, probably not now, but we just looked at it, was positive. Okay, still positive.
Yeah, it's
Apple, not even moving as the market hits lows. So I really like this name now for longs. And
it's not like, an AI play, so it's, which works
well. No, I don't know.
I think that works well for it right now, because if the air comes out of AI, then that has not as much to do with Apple. If it's a bubble, Apple stays almost like a safety net out of the Mag 7.
Yeah, that makes some sense there for Apple, but I mean, still pretty strong there. And then Uber on earnings as well has battled all the way back. All the way back, but is not down at $90 anymore and is near its day's high. So we just bounced off 95 there for Uber. So yeah, good couple levels here that we're seeing today on some names, and it's good to see that they held. you know, some of these lows actually held. And then Nvidia's, I know it broke below 200. And okay, now is again. I thought it was still holding. This was the mega cap name that I wanted to talk about, not Microsoft. This one has not. It caught a bid above 200, wanted to check in and see if it was still there. It's not. So there's the drop down, 4% down for NVIDIA. I mean, we're used to seeing it up 4%. So the fact that it's down 4% today does kind of suck. It's down now for the week. The last 5 days trading will be negative now as we break below $200, and we're just going to wait to see. Actually, AMD is making a little bit of a move higher. I'm going to take, okay, well, I just took a bid there at 94, so we'll take a little bit more out. Only being in 7.5%, 8% of this trade left. Doesn't give me too much worry, but you know, if we do, you know, an out is an out, so we want to make sure that we take them appropriately. So if it comes back up here, maybe we're looking at a 250, 250 to maybe get out of half of what we have left, and that's coming up very, very soon. So good out for me right there at 252 flat. Good couple outs here at the bottom as well. Took advantage of all of those. So the dip market. What's up, Molfar? Yeah, so what I was saying about WeBull at the beginning of the show was the $10 mark. You know, like that bounced nicely there, and we thought that it was going to hold. Now it's all the way to the downside. I'm already long WeBull. If you want me to say that I think this is a buy, then fine. But I mean, it's broken below. It's now below 52-week high. I don't think this is a buy until we retake $10 again, or even like. I said $4 or $5, but you know, I mean, buying some at 7 or 8, like it's just one more day like this, and then you're below 9 again, and the Nasdaq's barely pulling back. So we got to wait for some WeBull earnings. I mean, I
go a step further than that.
So much like SoFi, so much better.
I would say this, like I don't use WeBull. This was a stock.
We also don't use Robinhood or SoFi.
No, but it's like I have zero reason to love it or hate it. Like so, what I'm about to say it comes without a bias. Let's put it that way. The reason I like 10 is because look at how long it held $10. So like, why it was just a support level. It's going to lose that support level today unless something drastic happens. So to me, that's an out. They just closed under $10. I'm just getting out. Like it gave you $10 to $18 before. If you had 11, you had 11. But that's still even if you half, you know what that like half-assed it. That's a 50% move. So what's wrong with losing 10% the second time you take it? Like I don't know. Like that's kind of how I roll. Like unless barring an abject miracle, and I said this in the midday, it's going to close underneath that support level. That's an out on a swing trade for me. And if it regains it, then I can jump back in and kind of gladly do so, which is fine. Like you can go back to the well multiple times, but you should only be doing so if it's still got water in it, right? Like if the well gets polluted, then you clean it up or whatever it is that you do. I don't know, and or you find a new one. That's the other option as well if it's polluted. So that's kind of what I see. Like right now, it doesn't look good for WeBull, and technically it was a good level at 10. It's no longer a good level at 10. That's kind of my plan. Tab TV Gaming, MP big move down. Any news? I didn't see anything specific to them, but they're on a bleed right now. We've been talking about this for a while. Ooh, thank you for putting it up there. I keep forgetting I can do that. That's on me. That's my bad. I'm on the wrong page. No, we've been saying this is breaking down, and I think headed toward the 200-period moving average. Like, pretty clear. There's nothing else here to me except for right around $45 now that it's broken down. So I think technically we can head to the 50-period moving average or the 200-period moving average for MP. And even then, you could probably argue it might still be a little bit overpriced. Like the irony for me is the day that I said I wanted to own the stock, it was at $30 and I didn't buy it. And I remember being like the next day they got that stupid contract and I was kicking myself. And so I said, okay, well, I don't necessarily love it at this price, but I'll be kicking myself if it bounces around here and I didn't get into anything. So I've already bought 10% and I'm going to buy more. It's just a matter of, you know, giving it some time. Like to me, buying like 10% of the position and then one day later buying another 10% is kind of stupid. Like I'll give it like a week or two or the 200-period moving average before I buy this thing again. But I am DCing into this stock because I want to hold it for the long term. And the lesson I learned was this. If I was buying a stock at $30 in front of the 50-period moving average, which is at 27, and this is the day I decided that I wanted it, and it was within 10% of that level, why in the heck didn't I just buy? I couldn't have known this was going to happen, but it's still pretty stupid to care about that $3 when you're planning on holding it essentially forever, right? So kind of silly, lesson learned, and now I'm not forced to DCA into it, but now I'm essentially DCAing. But I believe in patience when it comes to that. DCAing into something for the long term, I'm not buying it every single day that it's down. I'll usually give it a few heartbeats. Sometimes quarter by quarter, or or maybe once a month, wait for a moving average. That's more my style, more of a patient one. This beta is really absurd. Like, I kind of felt like it would break trend and then absolutely fall apart. It's not really doing so. For now, it's holding 34 quarters. If it breaks that down, I'm looking to exit it underneath 34, and we got a super chat, which I'll do the right way here. Shoot, of course now I can't. There it is. Thank you to Keely Deely. What do you think about OpenDoor earnings tomorrow? Well, I can tell you I feel bearish about the stock. I don't feel anything about their earnings. Don't know enough or follow enough about them to be able to tell you anything constructive about what I think they're going to report. What I can say is, remember that support level, the 50 period? That's all gone now. Underneath $7, at $7, lost the 50 period. It's trending down going into earnings. The good news is the fact that it's reporting gives it a chance for this just to be a little wipeout and then break out of this little channel that I've been looking for. I just care technically. This is a technical downtrend into some support, and it still has a chance to break it out. It hasn't done it yet. So I don't want this thing long unless it breaks that channel up or revisits some kind of ridiculous level down. Pure technical, as far as I'm concerned, it's a squeeze play. I will let the Eric Jacksons of the world, explain the bull case. And you know what? I'd love to have Eric Jackson on and convince me why this should be more than a technical play. Because if you had some fundamental behind this, I'd just like that breakout twice as much. I just don't have that going for me. So anyone knows Eric Jackson, get him to convince us why something like this is a good fundamental play. But I'll wait for it to break out of this channel. If it closes above $8 tomorrow, that would qualify. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. I mean, probably just look it up. I mean, there's probably lots of base cases that he's been given to people.
I don't own the stock, so if I did, I probably would have looked it up. But,
Yep. A stock that you do own is getting punked right now pretty badly too, and that's GE Vernova. I mean, a lot of these names, man. I mean, I was like, hey, I wish I had bought some of this when it was down here. Well, guess what? I mean, Merry Christmas. It's down here again. So there goes GE Vernova giving it up big time again, another 7% here today. It's been really, had a nice battle back from their earnings. Obviously, they were down there the one day. They did that IBM move where it went all the way down and then all the way back, and now it's all the way down again. So GE Vernova has a lot more to go, I think, at least, now that we're down 200. Underneath this 50-period moving average. 500, I don't even think I want to buy it there. I'm looking, if we do come down for a complete collapse, probably around here, 350, 370 or so for GE Vernova, sort of back to where we were in the summer. I mean, maybe even 400. I mean, there's a lot of great names that hopefully come back in. And I just think that when you're looking and when there is blood in the streets, you do want to get in there and buy. But, we are right now, in very early days of any kind of a pullback. I mean, the NASDAQ is barely pulling back from their highs. So we got to give this a little bit of room. Some of these stocks, of course, are now multiples of where they had been, right? Down 40, 50, 60%. And the move has just started, right? Looking at that MP, not GE Vernova, obviously isn't down that far, but their high was 680 down to 540. So you are getting down 20% right now in this name. And then a major cap name in Meta is already down 20% from their highs, that being 800 down. So 800, so they're now down $180 from their top. So they're down more than 20%. I thought we said it was about 27% or so from the top side of Meta, let alone a monster like an Oracle, how far these guys are down. From their highs as well. Oracle here, let's go refresh. It's still showing the Meta chart right there, but there it is right there, 340. I guess this isn't that bad, but down $100 off of 340. So not great as that just keeps on bleeding. I still thank God that we got out there at 319. I didn't get out of it all. I'm going to have to relook to see how much we still have left. But I think Oracle's probably something that we want to buy at some point. Again, this is all a house of cards if OpenAI is a sham. So all these names like in Amazon, like Nvidia, like AMD, IBM, anybody that has gotten a deal with OpenAI in the literally billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars worth, all of that is fine and dandy, but part of the problem is OpenAI, we don't know their books, they're not open yet. We do know that they're trying to come through with $1 trillion valuation. We would really like to see that come out and then maybe them get some public money from us, you know, buying the stock, and then therefore potentially be able to deploy some of that to some of these companies. Like, I just worry that one report that says OpenAI can't fulfill that Amazon $38 billion commitment that they made yesterday. Then you're gonna see Amazon drop probably 20%, as well as the other stocks as well, just
There's some
fear.
strays too. Like, it's not just the ones that have deals with.
Well, that's what, yeah, exactly.
Like, the AI run has been,
look at CoreWeave.
been very good to Micron. Like, Micron's and
all the storage plays, right? I mean,
they're very dangerous.
CoreWeave was like a $300, no, not $300. Was it 200 maybe? That was the max. Is that the max for CoreWeave? Must have been, yeah, because there it comes out. So CoreWeave goes from 35 up to 190, back down to 85, back up to 150, now back down to 116. This name's in trouble if the AI play has stopped, right? We've talked about ARM still relatively high as well, and we're going to get the report tonight from Advanced Micro Devices to see what they're seeing in this market, right? I'm hoping they're seeing some positivity flows coming from other companies other than AMD, other than OpenAI. So we'll have to wait to see on that one. I hope there's a lot smarter people, which there definitely is, in the chat than I, and maybe have a contrarian view of all of that. But yeah, nervous hands for sure. And that's why when good companies dip, like my last purchase on Nvidia is 175. You know, so even if we can dip back into this area, obviously we have foregone all the net profit that we had up until this point on a 175 buy. But you're still at $200 here, Andre, and now starting to fade out just a little bit below that $200 marker. So yeah, Qualcomm's another name. I'm seeing people ask me about that. What's up, Z? Didn't Qualcomm just got they were another one that just got a deal as well over the last couple of days. So you can see what happened to them. There's the deal. And everyone's like, oh my God. And then there's the move back in now again, right? So here's another name, Z, in the chat, just like your Zscaler. Another name that's, you know, a lot of problems if the AI trade doesn't hold to the expectations that we all think. And the good thing is we are now through earnings season, and Google, everybody basically guided higher. You know, so you either believe it or you don't. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, somebody else, all guided higher. You know, so the idea pretty much, maybe one of them didn't, but I'm pretty sure they pretty much, they all did.
No, they all did.
So they're not seeing too much there, or again, are we being sort of, I don't want to say lied to, but maybe some of the, you know, higher ups in these different organizations just tend to see things differently because they are sipping the juice as well. But I don't know. Let's.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just find yourselves rolling down the street.
Yeah, smoking endo and sipping on
gin and juice.
Right, gin and juice, right? And then plus you can be laid back. But my mind is always on the money, you know,
and the money's on your mind.
Yes, it always is. On my mind tonight again, where my kid's going to all these open houses as he goes to grade 8.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to, or grade 9, sorry. He's going to grade 9. So he goes to open houses and they get to choose. So last night we went to a school that focuses on film studies. So he was doing, that's a big art school. So he's trying to do that. It was amazing. Actually, the classroom and the theater looked very similar to this. They had, you know, many drop-down lights and all this kind of stuff that was going through. So
couldn't have been this pimp, though.
It was probably, it might have been a little more pimped than this. Oh, definitely didn't have that.
So they didn't have that.
No, there was definitely nothing like that. What a screen in behind us there as we get ready to sort of roll through with that. You can see right now this Toronto skyline in the background there. Hi, Russell. Hi, Mark, as they continue to, oh, there's a couple waves. Mark, see, that's how hard Mark works. He's like, shut the sky up. I'll just wave, but I'm still doing work as we go.
He doesn't play around.
Brendan told me there's still multiple pages left of checkoffs before this even comes close to what.
Multiple pages? How much more is there? Like,
there's a lot more to do, man. I mean, all of this has to move back.
Okay, you guys didn't see this. I turn. I'm like, how much more? And then Russell like gave me that look. Like, you better believe there's pages of stuff to do.
Yeah. Russell's making sure there's many more months of work here. Just keep.
I love that.
Keep the bills coming, Russell.
I love that shirt, by the way. I absolutely love that shirt.
Russell, come over here. I want to see that shirt.
Just come over here so everyone can see it. I love it.
Russell, no walking in the background. Come here. What is that shirt? Oh, keep calm and drink on. Okay.
You know what's up.
We like that one. Yeah, we like that one. He knows what's up. So shout out to Russell there, apparently. All right, yeah, NASDAQ and the market still underneath, man. We're still underneath the 50-period moving average here on a 1-minute chart, and some of these names continue to bleed lower. So
someone told me one day, do not short boring stocks. This stock broke trend 15 minutes ago and has bounced off the same support level the entire time. So it's not working. I elected not to add to it because I didn't think there was a reason to. The volume is actually pretty bad on this. It's been essentially not doing any volume. So this might not be a big time mover. If it starts to pick up again, it might be worth it. But for now, this beta stock is kind of boring. So we'll just got out of it. Lumen, on the other hand, got it back from this morning. I shorted this 3 times this morning. Once was like a win, but then stopped out. So it was like a half win. And then the other 2 were just straight losses. Shorted 3 times this afternoon. We'll get to essentially flat on it, slightly up. I mean, the position, if it breaks the low of the day, well, if I get at the low of the day, we'll be up on it. But it's just the difference between liking something for a short and shorting it when it's a short can be 2 different things. So like if I hold the morning prices all day long, it's a win, but obviously you can see this one ended up trending up. And then when it broke the trend, it's like so much easier afterwards. Z says, what's your take on Upstart? You might, Z, whatever. We're in Canada, so it doesn't really matter.
Zed.
We're supposed to say Zed. I say Z because that's how it rhymes. What's your take on Upstart? The short interest is at 38%. Much like Hertz, my take on Upstart is the 38% short float. Like, what is the one earnings name that's up today? Maybe Hims is up too, but then even they have a big short percentage. Hertz is up 37% because they have 42% short float. Upstart has you said 38% short float and has been downward trending. So if you're, like when the market's at the highs and things are frothy and there's something wrong with it, something wrong with the report, sometimes they sell it off. Well, if something is downward trending going into earnings, and then it has a 38% short float, and then it's a good earnings, I think it has a chance to give a little bit of a squeeze. Like anybody, if someone's short this from after what I guess would be the August earnings, right? So maybe they short it this day. They're short in the 70s. And if it breaks back out, do they want it to get past 50 post earnings with that big short float? Maybe they want to bank some profit. That's where my mind is at. So I think at least here you have a chance at like a Hertz-like play, but that's not till tomorrow, because not a good looking chart or stock otherwise, outside of the fact that it's going down into earnings and you've got that big short float. So sometimes those are the types of plays that can work in a downward trending market because people want to get some cash. They're like, oh, I see other opportunities, and you've been holding a winning short there on Upstart, and it breaks out tomorrow after earnings, they'd probably consider covering, or at least somebody. And when I say they, I just mean funds. There's no mysterious, evil they. You're just talking about the hedge funds that go short these things. They don't make any money until they cover like everybody else.
I would be more inclined right now to trade a PayPal to the long side.
PayPal?
So.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, more than. Oh, we just got out some more AMD here. I got out 5230s a little bit. I don't know. It looks like that 51 bottom might have been the case. I'll call that up in a minute. But yeah, PayPal right there all the way back in. So, good report, good story dealing with some Google there. They got in with some Alphabet, some sort of I don't even remember what the deal was, but something there with them, and right back into some support again. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow if PayPal, what Upstart is more financing of VCs and whatnot. So I'm not, I don't think they'll necessarily dance together or anything, but let's just wait to see if this is indeed a day 2, day 3 play here in the market, and we continue to go lower. Ozan, you're asking me when Moon. I don't know. I mean, depends on what asset class. I've been saying Bitcoin, not Moon, for a long time now, and Bitcoin's down 25%. You want to talk about, people really running for the doors. They've really hit Bitcoin. And I don't, imagine the NASDAQ, like people that are equating NASDAQ, Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff. Could you even imagine if that was the case and NASDAQ was down 25% from its highs, what people would be doing? There would be buildings that would definitely have people on top of them. But, you know, for right now, IBIT is really getting cranked, and you're at a great support level of 100,000. And look, if you like if you like Bitcoin for some kind of reason, then, you know, maybe now would be a decent time to think about getting involved, because again, no one sold anything on the way up, right? And if you have, congratulations. I don't know many people that have been talking about getting out of anything up here. So right now, you're all the way back to May. So you've been sitting in a non-dividend bearing asset for 6 months now and gotten nothing out of it. And all you've seen is the NASDAQ, NVIDIA, many other names continue to make highs. But if you call up an Amazon or a Meta or anything like that, they're probably back also to May levels. So that's why this is not just a Bitcoin related story by any stretch of the imagination. It's more just a story that the fact is like a Bitcoin and all that seen as sort of the, it's not a hedge, but sort of as the be all index for crypto. And you know, when I wake up in Monday morning or look at the markets Sunday night and try to get an idea of where the NASDAQ or the ES or what the broader markets might wind up doing, a lot of it you can see. If Bitcoin's getting smacked, you know that Europe and North America probably opens up lower as well. So that's why we're using this as sort of a proxy for the index. And it's been nasty. Like, you're looking at the Qs and thinking like, oh man, this move is bad. We're down 2%. But this is what this daily chart looks like. You know, high of 640 just made 3 days ago, and now you're back down to 620. You're just pulling back a sneeze right there. Bitcoin is all the way back, as we had said, to May levels. So that would be like NASDAQ, the Qs being down here at 490. Okay, so let's sort of take it with a little bit of a grain of salt here. Think that the NASDAQ does have some more room to come down, and potentially Bitcoin right now, as there it goes right here. We are about to break.
It's at 100 right now.
Exactly. We're about, I have it on the screen right here below. About to break 100,000 right now on BTC, and just, yeah, it is pretty sad for those that have invested over here. But hey, I think we all know when we get involved with Bitcoin that, you know, 25% drawdowns and more than that are probable and likely. So there it goes. This is not the first time you'll see moves like this on BTC, and most likely not the last, Adara.
Actually not crypto-related news, but I do want to discuss our implied earnings moves for tonight and tomorrow morning. Here are some of the more closely watched names reporting tonight. I know SMCI is reporting tonight. They're not on this list because I could not see an expected move for them when I made this infographic, though I'm keeping an eye on it. But regardless, you've got Amgen, AMD, Kava, Pinterest, Toast, Clover Health, Rivian, Upstart, Astera Labs, Arista Networks, and the aforementioned SMCI. Check this out with myself, Sean, and special guest Brian Shannon, Alpha Trends, for this earnings coverage and discussion. But then tomorrow morning, we get some earnings names as well. And again, this visual also available on X at TTV Research. Novo Nordisk, Humana, Lemonade, CCJ, United, and McDonald's all set to report. McDonald's with the smallest expected move, but everything else decently sized expected moves here for tomorrow's earnings plays. Tomorrow night, there's like 17 names on watch that I had, so tons reporting tomorrow night as well. And those you can find on our daily calendar, also posted on X at TTV Research. Back to you.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I couldn't find SMCI either. Yes, we got another super chat. This one from Chris. Lily, 1K prints possible by Thursday. Oh, 100K just broke on Bitcoin.
Bye.
So there's 100. This time for sure, I don't care what, I guess, broker, whatever that broker, what exchange you're looking at. This broke cleanly through 100 on all of them. I can see them all in the book. There they go. There's nothing. There's nobody quoting over 100K anymore as the breakdown has happened. But before we answer that super chat, just the one thing I was going to say. Once he broke that support, low 90s. Like the low 90s is the next level down. So two-step pullback, that's where it bounced before. Two-step pullback ain't till we get to like 91. Like 91,000 on Bitcoin. As far as Eli Lilly is concerned, I would expect to see 1,000. But by Thursday is a different story.
Is today Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, today's Tuesday. So like I would be surprised if this got to 1,000 by Thursday. I think that's probably asking a lot because there's a bunch of overhead resistance on the way. Like it's got a couple of lower highs, one which it literally topped out today. like an earnings top at 9.15, and then you've got like 9.30 up here, and then you've got the actual top at 9.70. So a lot of overhead resistance here on Eli Lilly. It's not like it's a straight shot. If it was like a straight shot and it was breaking it out, then maybe it could get there in 2 days. So yeah, I think it's getting there. You must be thinking of options, and that's probably why you'd be asking for such a short time frame. But ultimately, it's still a great performing stock. And on top of that, we were talking about AMD having a down channel from the top. Well, this, whoops, kind of moved it before I finished. This is breaking out of that down channel. So there's your lower lows, there's your higher lows, and it is breaking away from that channel. Oddly enough, I mentioned AMD because when AMD did this, it went absolutely ham. Like it was in a down channel for a very long time from its high. And this was actually, like, it was a bad down channel. Went way further than Lilly's. But look at what happened when it broke that down channel and went crazy. I think Palantir had one like this as well. So I think Lilly's going to get there. I just don't think it's by Thursday.
All right, man. Yeah, let's go. Right now, AMD right back down below, man. We just said boom because we got the O's. We got the 20s, sorry, 52.20 right there as we just bounced off of 52 flat. That's the indicated 50-period moving average. So, yeah, nice move down right now for advanced micro devices. Continuously printing lows is what I'm waiting for here. A break of 251.50 should be good to go on that one. And then, of course, the futures. We were still waiting for 112 to get out. So if that happens, then we'll fly out of that one and regroup at some point. But for right now, nothing to do except for watch this continue to bleed. Today was all about Palantir, right? We talked about them early. And I don't know. We started the show. Neil went one way with it. He said, it looks like Palantir is going higher. I was like, I think it's going lower. We are underneath everything. Either way, I didn't put my money where my mouth was on that one, but there goes Palantir back into the lows again. At least we were thinking the right way there, but, don't have it on. So we have to just continue to watch this thing bleed down. I wasn't going to put it on while holding AMD anyways, but yeah, Palantir looks to break the lows of the day at 186.50, unfortunately, heading into the close. We do have the imbalance locator that will populate and give us hopefully some trade ideas into the end of the day right now. Walmart with a buy. Walmart's actually been pretty good, man, holding upside on WMT, right? Nothing to complain about on this name. Up 0.53. I wonder if that's the same thing today for Costco. Some of the retail, I know I'm in Target, which is probably a complete disaster, is that those guys are a nightmare over there. But yeah, Bitcoin right now still below. Looks like it wants to maybe get a little bit lower, but we'll wait to see if that is the case for BTC right now. 99.8 again there. But yeah, just a quick little look there. I wanted to make a look and see if there was anything going on at all with the imbalances. And just right now, buys and sells across the board. Nothing overly huge. Cliffs, Suncor, Ford, Walmart. So it's going to be, we've already talked about it, it's pretty much a NASDAQ day here today. So, wow, there goes AMD right now. I got to put another bid over here. Well, I'm at 30s. Let me put a bid right now at 50s, see if we can get that. That's now $6. As you can't get comfortable until you're uncomfortable. We heard Obi talk about that a little bit as well. Most traders will talk like that. But there it comes right now back into the downside. So we are pretty uncomfortable trading this early as just racking up some of these L's. But here it comes right now. Not taking any L's now, as here it is right back into, once again, ladies and gentlemen, the low of the day here for AMD, and looking like it wants to get even lower than where we are right now. So yeah, not a great experience here today for AMD shareholders ahead of earnings, right? Down 3%, but it's Nvidia that is potentially worse. Right now, not potentially, percentage-wise it is. Right now, down 3.5% versus 3. So I'm nervous because we broke through 200, but at least we can hold out the fact that if you're long Nvidia, at least you do have sort of the underpin of the $5 trillion, them being such a strong company, all the deals surrounding their chips. So, I mean, I do like what Nvidia is doing right here, but obviously well aware of the fact that if it's a house of cards, this is near the top. So you're going to fall quite dramatically back in. But yeah, just really happy with the trading on the Qs and with Nvidia and be able to make back, basically 2/3 of our day back. So that's going to be, a great opportunity for me today, and good lessons learned. So, but yeah, Amazon biking now below 250, AMD, and then just back over to some of these other names. Like we've been sort of talking about Rigetti. They're down 9% today. As a lot of these
If you're frothy, you're getting smacked down today.
yeah, basically.
Unless you're literally, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these quantum names make no money. So I don't know, like, yeah, they're getting whacked.
They're vastly, the Rigettis of the world, and it's not just the quantum names, you can put the nuclear energy names in there as well. It's one thing to have a high valuation because the amount of money you are making is not, priced, you're not priced relative to the amount of money you're making. It's another thing to just not make any money, right? Like Rigetti, like I said, like the backup second baseman on most baseball teams has better revenues or makes more money than the revenues of Rigetti. All that said, this hasn't even pulled back. It could get a lot it could get a lot uglier for this. That's all I'm going to say. If this was at $17 or $27 in 1 month, both of those things would seem perfectly reasonable to me. Whereas Nvidia, like how bad do I think? It's perfectly reasonable if Nvidia, oh, that's not going to, you got the split there. It's perfectly reasonable if Nvidia found a 150 bottom in all these doomsday scenarios. That's the 200 period moving average at 150. That's not so bad. Really? And if you think that that can't happen, then you know what? Trim. That's the way I look at it. I asked myself the question in the last week, every time I looked at what I wanted to trim in terms of exposure to AI, and the answer was AMD in my portfolio every single time and not Nvidia. So I've kind of made that bet, and I'll live with it. I did just jump out of Beyond Meat. Again, not moving, and the consolidation is at VWAP. You break it by even 1 cent, I'm getting out. Just not giving me what I want. On that one, Lumen bounced off the lows. It's like almost 330 here, so I'll just get out. I think I moved my stop. No, I did not. I'm going to move my stop just around a break even on this. Just sort of like a rinse and repeat action here. And again, like the important thing is, sometimes you can have an idea for a short, which was my thought for Lumen today, but you can mistime it. The best you can do, I said this for the lesson of the day, it's okay to be wrong, it's not okay to stay wrong. Get out and wait till it does something distinct, which tells me sellers are in control. Sometimes it's obvious. Sellers gain control here, first opportunity to short, second opportunity to short, third opportunity to short. And that's it. You can do that. Because AMD was sort of a similar one as well. Like if you just look at it, it gave you that opportunity. Like look at Rigetti. Like I could just throw Rigetti up. If you were trying to short this, you probably had some success here, but look when it broke the trend. At no point from when it broke the trend were you out of the money. It just worked its way down stair step. And if you can be patient enough, and that's not an easy thing to do, because I'd be saying, yeah, that's noon. Now, ultimately, this actually ends up being a good short because you could short it back into the prior day high, and there was like, wait for here, wait for here, wait for here, take the trend break. That is so hard to do. Why? Because if you shorted the open, the stock gave you $1 right away. You're like, oh my goodness, I just made $1. And then it starts breaking you up. Sometimes that 930 can be so deceiving and trip you up because it gives you a winning trade, and I'm only saying that because that's exactly what Lumen did. Like Lumen right away failed a breakout and looked like it was breaking down. So I'm like, of course I'd want to short that. It looks like it's failing up here in front of those highs. Take your shots. It doesn't work, and then you move on to next. Afi just asked a question about AMD, and David Tretsiak. Also, I think I'm pronouncing that right, David. You let me know. With a super chat. Afi's question was AMD price target, and Dave's daily dose of dilly. I like that even better than the silly trade. AMD swing, put your sunscreen on, bulls, and have aloe vera on standby. Swing long on AMD, I'm assuming you're talking about, because I don't think you're talking about swing short. I'd be hands off in this. As I said, I've trimmed my AMD position twice in the last week alone. So I'm clearly not that big of a believer in it here. And Afi, in terms of price target, I'm not in the trade. I mean, Sean could give you his price target. To me, I shorted it trend to the volume weighted average price and didn't even get VWAP. It is my best stock today because I got it clean a few times. But ultimately, I didn't hold it all the way through. So I'm not going to be sitting here with any kind of a price target on it. You could make the argument that it broke out at 251 So if I was short VWAP, I'd be giving it to 251 because that's that breakout level here. But that's about it. And I just got out of Luma and I said I would move the stop to break even. It just broke back out. So I'm out of that trade. I'll look for something else, but the imbalances are about, like the early looks are coming out here at 330. Nothing too crazy right here. You got Southwest, you got Cliff, you got Ford, Walmart actually in here a little bit. I would say that LUV, that stands out a little. 1.9 million on Southwest. That doesn't do a lot of volume. That's why it stands out. That's a third of the day's volume for Southwest. I don't think there's anything going. Wait a minute. What happened to Southwest in the middle of the day? So there clearly was some news on. I was about to say I don't think there's anything going on with Southwest, but something did happen in the middle of the day. That was probably when the White House was talking about the airline industry.
Were they again?
And that's why it tanked. So there might be something there for Southwest on the imbalances. 1.9 million, but it's a buy imbalance on a downtrending stock. We'll see. I'll leave that one up there and check. Dylan Patel asked AMD green or red. I sold twice, so if I say anything other than red, that's kind of ridiculous on my part, so I'll say red.
Yeah, I think AMD red regardless of the report. I mean, Palantir had a great report, and we saw them go very much red. I mean, if you think... I don't know, man. It's such a random game when we're playing greens and reds and stuff like that.
Especially,
but we can put it up. We should do that, Andre. We got a lot of votes yesterday, so let's go AMD red or green tomorrow's open, and then we'll vote.
I can do it if you want.
Andre's over there. I don't care who does it. Yeah, one of you can do it. But I think that would be a good call. So let's do that and then see what we can come up with as a group, right? I think yesterday green Palantir wound up winning, but obviously today not green for Palantir. Oh, there it is. Oh, did you already get this one? Loyal viewer for several great years. Great show. Thanks to y'all. At Sean. You often hit daily goal, right? Yeah, or multiples of it. Today, no. If you had a net loss shutdown of $100, for example, what would your daily goal be? $100. So I would like to lose. My goal would always be similar to whatever the shutdown would be. I mean, I'm a firm believer of, being here to make money. So I don't have a problem. I mean, that's the whole point of being on a prop floor, is to basically risk other people's capital. And so, yeah, I've been entrusted, obviously, to have, quite large shutdown, but earned it, right? And so I don't use my shutdown as that limit. I think what you have to do is ask yourself, how much money do I need to trade? And for me, thankfully, we have the show. So, some of the revenues, obviously, of trading don't need to be as high because of the show. But when you are sitting here trading, and this is why I tell you, we already talked about this. I think me and Neil agreed it was like 97% or so of all the traders that have come through that we've seen do not even come close to making, first of all, even successful, let alone enough money to live off of. Okay,
I think
we've already. Hold on a second.
Out of the people that graduate, I'd say it's about 1 in 10 of the people that graduate have a over 3-year run of making enough to making.
Okay, and then what percent of people that we hire graduate?
No, but that I don't remember. Like,
right, it's at least 97%.
I knew that better 5-10 years ago than I do know that number now. So I couldn't even speak intelligently on that.
I know it now. It's at least 97%.
I know what it was.
Yeah. That's okay. I can speak now then. And that's where it is, right? So that's why that question is kind of difficult. I think everybody has to have their own. The reason why I say the daily goal is because I am very much a believer of statistics and math, and that's why I'm here to tell you guys, if you can hit these winners early or late and hit your daily goals, sometimes that's the best time to say, okay, I've done it. I've made that $100. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Or I've made that $200 or, whatever. And now it's time for me to go spend time with my family or start doing my job as a painter, as a teacher, whatever. There's lots of you out there that have full-time jobs, especially, on the West Coast and things like that, that are just trying to trade for some extra income. And so it's going to be different for everybody, but I think that's an absolutely great question. Okay, here it is. Will AMD be red or green tomorrow? I'm just going to go with red.
Yeah, and I should have said at the open, but we all know it's at the
open. Yeah, that's okay. At the open. So, yeah, I think I honestly think if it's down 5 or 6% anyways, I think it'll be hard to climb back out of that tomorrow. So, yeah, whatever it is at open, I'd be pretty confident with. there.
Especially when was it, like, show me the stock in tech right now, AI adjacent or just in tech in general, that has been able to withstand the sellers. Like, most of the time it's been in the pre-market, like, well, even if it gaps up, it'll lose it in the pre-market or at the open. But the last couple of days, they've been selling it off before it even had a chance. Like Palantir, remember I was telling you I was a little bit surprised?
Yeah.
And even during the aftermarket show, I was a little bit surprised that it broke down. I thought Palantir was going to beat, raise, and be up, and then at 9:30 was going to give up the gap. Yeah. So, like, I didn't even trade Palantir because everything, like, I was expecting a day where I would see it come in, be somewhere around here, and be playing a breakdown into like 200 or something. And I was completely surprised that it actually acted this way because most of the other stocks had been holding the gains. Dude, I guess we're close enough to Microsoft that maybe I can see this one on the chart. Load, come on. 15-minute chart's going to show it. Load. Yeah, afternoon charts, baby. There you go. Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's a little bit ridiculous. Like, I wanted to see, like, sometimes what will happen with these is you will gap, run, and then after you get the drop. Afterwards, you get the drop. Amazon, gap, drop. And obviously it ramped up because it was news a couple of days ago, but that's what I was expecting to see with Palantir. So it was a little bit surprising. Apple has grun in the chat. Apple has absolutely held up. But it doesn't mean that it's doing anything crazy. Apple has held the channel, which I think is good, but it's not like it's breaking out. But if there is a Mag 7 like technical breakout tomorrow, Apple's kind of the only one that's setting up because everything else is down. Apple gives you a shot to at least be a breakout trade because it has a level to break out from where it's been consolidating. And I still maintain, like, Apple sounds like it's not AI proof, it's just the one that I guess has the least amount of downside risk if a bubble is breaking. And I have to correct myself with something. I mistakenly said that HIMS was an earnings name that was green. It is absolutely not. HIMS is down 3%. It just broke the low of the day, so that's my bad. It was earlier, that's why I said it. And even this is getting bled. Yuck. Oh, this stock looks bad. Bad. This is a short term.
Okay, Michael Burry pulled 5 million shares out of Palantir. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but, you know, when we came back on here, I was talking about Palantir going into the lows of the day again, and that's exactly what Palantir is doing right now. So there it goes, man. Right back in. Not a great experience today for Palantir shareholders, but one to be expected as we had a huge run in the name, and, you know, profit taking is what happens in all markets and is currently happening right now to Palantir. And yeah, down 10%. Looks like we will go SSR. And I remember when we started the show, I had said, like, you know, we're underneath. I like the short and didn't take it, but there it goes, man, down into the downside. So for me, I just sort of put that feather in the cap and it's like, okay, we had the right read. Next time maybe we'll take it. And I just fell in love too much with what we were doing on AMD and, you know, really wanted to believe and have believed in the strength of this name. So in the strength of this trade, the name is weak. So hopefully we can get back in on this level and break and then see a 250 level. That's sort of what I'm trying to get through here on AMD would be 450 or 250. I don't even have my bids anymore. We already got filled at 51s. So we said we were down here at 51 quarters. We got that. So for me, that next sort of movement is downside here on AMD. And if we can get it into the close with only 20 minutes left, that should be okay. Occidental would be the one name sort of in the space here as far as energy that's, you know, really gotten beat up. You know, XOM and Chevron and all that, they reported they're kind of been flat off of those dates, but it's Occidental right now that is trying to break even lower and get into some support. So these will be some interesting lows here for Occidental. I think if you're going to do any sort of homework on energy stocks, I think Oxy would be a good one to look up. And then also Valero, as we talk about refiners. As there's been some words, obviously, about China and Russia and you know, how that oil refining is going to be working if they're not on board. So this has not fallen down. So if you want to get a name that I think is going to be good in this space, Valero being a refiner works. And that way you're not as sensitive to the price of oil, more to the actions involved with, again, the global recovery and whatnot, especially if the NASDAQ does make a dip down and we get some China worries. Let's look at some refiners here in the United States. So that would be Valero. So that would be another look there for, oopsies, for anybody interested in mining in energy names. Look at VLO, Valero, a name that I used to own. I still probably do, but don't anymore. I own Enbridge in the space. I don't even own.
You don't own Enbridge?
I do own Enbridge.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't even think I own Exxon or Chevron or any of those names. But I do have to clean it up. The ETF that I am involved in, but have gotten a little bit out of. I don't love the energy space. Is XLE. And just, again, they have a dividend, 2.5%, 3%. I have to look up to see exactly what it is. And I don't mind that space. But, again, not as dramatic.
Enbridge is my biggest energy by a long shot.
Yeah, if you're going to hide somewhere, I think like XLE is a good one. And then Enbridge is, we own it because it's big here in Canada, but it is a U.S. stock as well, ENB, probably paying 4 or 5%. I mean, the dividend gets different, but look at this, man. That's been a ride to hold that as well. You know, all the way
lately
back
for sure
down.
it's been break back down. But I don't think, I've held that one. Like when I started, I was a bit conservative when I started investing. It was more indexes, and then, you know, every time I would buy something that was speculative, I'd also buy something, either buy the index with it, like put half and half, or like put in something like a dividend name. So I have a bunch of like Canadian dividend stuff that I've held for a long time that I don't really buy anymore. Like I haven't bought Rogers in a million years. The last time I bought a Canadian bank actually was terrible.
Oh.
Because no, I remember I told it, it's fine now. It's obviously it was in the money, but because they've had a great run. But you know, we have a high school friend who previously worked at TD Bank, and
look at that.
I remember convinced. No, but it was bad for a long time, and I remember sort of finally going back into Canadian stocks, and for the longest time I was buying TD Bank, and I'm trying to zoom this out. So there we go. For the longest time, I was buying TD Bank when all of the other Canadian banks were ripping, and I was just sitting there as the stock was going sideways. I'm like, really? Is this really happening? And then, of course, it eventually went. It doesn't mean, like, I made money on it, but it doesn't mean it was good, because I could pull up any other Canadian bank that was doing much, much better than TD during that time. So because your friend works there is not a good reason to buy. Chris Scrum, can we pull that back up? I just missed it. Oh, okay. It was just info only for Eli Lilly. If everyone caught that, we already talked about Eli Lilly. So thank you for the super chat there,
like
Chris.
Eli Lilly.
We appreciate you, and we certainly we love some Eli Lilly around here for sure. Still, there's a new name on the imbalances which is of mild interest to me, and I have an order out on is Kenvue. It was only Southwestern. I didn't see Kenvue like before, but it's now there for 1.2 million, and it also broke. Oops, that's still TD. And it also broke VWAP just now. So going into the imbalances, I want to get picked up underneath the volume weighted average price on Kenvue. If I'm not filled before 350, I'm going to pull the order. I don't want to get filled. If this goes from like 1.2 million sell to like a buy or nothing, then I don't want to get filled on that print. I want to be in it and then have a stop, and then it either works for me or it doesn't at 350. So there's 7 minutes to go. I'm going to look for the short, just a few pennies higher than this on Kenvue. If we get it, we get it. It's one of the only names that's interesting. Well, I just saw Archer, but that's from the morning there. Bigfoot in the chat.
A Bigfoot?
If I can't see you, then I can't believe you that you're Bigfoot. Great show. You made $25K on Oracle calls today. Oracle. I haven't looked at Oracle today. I guess it must have made a bottom at 250?
Calls?
Oh, what, off the open?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, 100% off the open. I think the stock is bottomed out. What do you guys think? So I'm going to make the assumption you just took this one off the open, the whole buy the dip. And when they buy it up on a gap down, some of these tech stocks, they're impressive. I'm not at the point, look, it is what it is. I'll tell you right now, I'm not buying Oracle until it either retests 220 or the 200-period moving average. Like it hasn't shown a signal of a bottom yet. It broke the 50. It recently just broke a support level, which was a big prior high, and it's headed right back to when they gave that crazy OpenAI guidance. Right, that was at $220. So if it couldn't hold the 50 period, and it couldn't hold the prior high, then the next thing left. I mean, you can make an argument for 240, fair enough, but I think it's that 220 when this whole mess started with what was an exuberant guidance, but it was all about one firm, and that's what everyone's like, well, if it's only about OpenAI, then that's like as bubble-ish as it gets. So 220 for me, I think that's a buy zone on Oracle. But then listen to me, you got the bottom at the open. That was great. It's just down 4% and at the lows even as we speak.
All right, we covered some more there on AMD. We are getting ready. There's only 5 minutes left until the imbalances, and this could be a buy. I mean, I could see it being a buy, but that doesn't really matter. I'm not necessarily covering just for those reasons. But yeah, for right now, you could just see. We're starting to sort of pair off a little bit. The futures are coming back up to the upside. Our 112 is about to break, and if it does, fine. I mean, that's the level that we wanted to talk about anyways, so maybe we get some love into there, and for 112 break on the TQs, that will get us out of that position, which is fine. We only have a very, very small amount in there as well. We've recently bought, like we talked about it, I see there's a super chat, but we've recently bought Lululemon, and we bought some Target as well, and Target went up to 100 and fell all the way back down. So we'll have to wait to see if there's going to be, there it is, Target went up to $100 there. We didn't get anything out. So hopefully that will retrace back in and we won't be able to, you know, we will be able to realize some. It looks like Bitcoin, nice bounce. Went to 99 change, back up to 101. So right there. But the question, I guess, is about Lululemon.
Yeah, and I did answer Sam, but I can say it out loud just in case you missed it. So this is the monthly chart of Lulu. Consecutive monthly closes above the 200 period moving average. I nibbled an initial position, 20% yesterday when it opened holding that support level. I won't buy any more until next month. This is a monthly setup. So I'm not doing anything with this stock until next month. And if next month it's got a green candle above the 200 period moving average, I might just buy the whole boat if it's like a bullish looking candle. Even better if this one, like this next candle ends up like a wick bottom, like it breaks the 200 period moving average and then closes the month back above, and then in December we open up above 170, or the same thing could happen in December and I would do this in January. It's kind of the same concept. I would buy the entire rest of the 80% right up there. Otherwise, I'm just waiting for the next monthly candle here on Lulu, so I did buy it. And it's nothing to do with the fact that Michael Burry bought it too.
No,
which he did, by the way.
My wife put through a $150 order last night.
Holla.
So, yeah, hopefully just pants.
Oh.
Just pants. That's how expensive they are. But hey, if you want to get quality stuff, you got to pay money. Okay, so that's what's happening right there. I think Home Depot, yeah, that's another good look there in the retail side of things. I do like Home Depot. They've been really like a bellwether for the economy, right? And they're just falling back in right now into some key levels. They actually had a good earnings report. Home Depot coming into 375, again, a pretty solid dividend rate there. So I would say get ready to pull the trigger. Maybe, I mean, Home Depot probably a better buy than Lulu, but obviously if you're buying Lululemon, you're hoping for a better return, I guess, than you would here in a Home Depot, because it's the risks associated there with this trade. So
I think Home Depot can be an investment. Lulu's just a trade, man.
Yeah, I'm investing in Lulu. I think Lulu can go.
It's more of a trade for me.
Okay.
That is what it is. Like it's a technical setup for me in Lululemon. I should have said that at the beginning, because that's sometimes we'll talk about like when I'm talking about dip buying like Meta or like G Vernova at the 200 period moving average. Like those are like long-term plays. So that's my bad. We should always say that. Like Lulu to me is in my swing account, TFSA, which effectively is where I do the shorter term stuff, and I would anticipate. It's set up on the monthly, so it'll be a longer type of swing. It'll last months, but it's not because I want to hold this stock forever and have my daughter inherit that in the portfolio. I don't know. What else?
You and I think differently. I don't think about my kids are going to be fine no matter what. Like I'm trying.
No, it's a figure of speech.
That's what I'm saying, and I think people take it seriously. No.
I say that as a figure of speech. Like that's.
Yeah, because I think like if we're going to sit here and talk about like the trajectory of pretty much, I mean, there's been a few stocks that have gone bankrupt. I mean, there's the Enrons, there's the Beyond Meat, but when you're talking about high quality companies, I really think that the trajectory for most stocks is up. So if you're just going to say, not you in general, just people in general, like I'm going to hold this for a long time, it is obviously not. I mean, if you're going to hold any stock for 50 years, I just don't think it would be upside.
So I don't like the branded retail type names. It's such a difficult space that for one of those to be great for a really, really long time is something that I think is really difficult. So I don't want to hold them. Like I will never hold an airline for a ridiculously long period of time because I just don't believe in I don't believe in the business enough, and someone can't convince me that they're worth long-term holds. Trades for sure. I would never hold one of those long-term. Certainly there's always trades there. And Lulu, someone says, Front Porch Trader just said Lulu won't even be remembered in 5 years. I don't know if that's true, but it's believable to me when you talk about a retail.
Oh, yeah. No,
Like,
I mean,
to me, it's a believable statement, whether I agree with it or not. I can wrap my head around that statement.
I have like 0.5% of my portfolio, not even, is in Lululemon.
But those that say something like, oh, well, like Meta could fall out of favor and that'll be gone in 5 years, I'm like, that's cap. And I say that straight up. That's why there's just two different types of plays for me, that's all.
I mean, there's more. I think there's almost more risk to the downside in Meta at these levels than Lululemon. Okay, here we go, man. The market is still going downside right now, big time. And we're starting to, we are really starting to cash in right now. Even Rigetti can't get out of the way. That's a bid right now and a tank for RGTI as that continues to go lower and lower and lower, man. AMD must have had some sort of a bid on it, so we'll put a bid right now and see if we can get out at 81. There it is. So we'll get out some more here as we got to get over to the desk and start to build up for the after show, of course, where we will have Mr. Brian Shannon on, as far as I know. I have to see if he messaged me back. He should be coming on here. I'm going to talk to him about this move down and what he expects moving forward, of course. Who cares about what's already happened? We'll ask him what's moving forward. That's the most important. But there it goes to the downside as, yeah, man, we did it. We've done really well. Look where the NASDAQ is going to wind up today, all the way at and close at its lows. Donnie Zimbabwe, man, you have horse sense, my guy. You put down 2%, and there it is right there. So congratulations to those making calls, and you made one, and there it goes, Donnie. So congratulations on that, as there's your 2% there with more to come tomorrow. But there it is, nice downside play there. You got 2%. You win, Mr. Zimbabwe. But there it is. I'm going to start to cover right now on the TQs, and we got the move that we thought. Right up there into 115, 116. We wrote down 116 short. Looks like it got to 115.50, which is pretty much where we're short right now. And then there's the downside play into the end of the day. So good on you, Donnie Zimbabwe from earlier on. I love that name. I'm just going to bid out right here at 111. Hopefully we do get that flush in. And that would be that, man. The close of this monster trade.
Yeah, great monster trade. And shout out to everyone that's trying to make bigger trades.
Yeah.
Because for too long, that meant risking your own money. That fear of losing kept lots of traders on the sideline. But it's changing now. Why? Because Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you get to keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it's powered by Trade the Pool. So visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Shout out to them. Shout out to Mitch. Came on through this morning, gave some of his ideas. I was looking short at a bunch of places as well. Yeah, that Ken View did come out a little bit bigger, but it's already made its move, so it's going to be a bit of a nothing burger. There, Kenview came out as a 4 million sell, but it already dropped and popped a little bit. So you kind of had to, you had to take it earlier. I didn't get there fast enough. You know, ETH 2.4 million sell side, but I'll tell you this one: we dodged a bullet on beta. Yikes, beta. You know what? Sometimes it's like the worst looking IPO that ends up the best. And this one took off in a big way. But this is sort of the idea. If you're sitting in something, and here's the example I'm going to give you. If it's like a trend break, this type of strategy, it's supposed to break the trend and then work cleanly to the downside. Either that means it just immediately falls because it broke trends and people are trailing out or stopping out, or it stair steps down by making lower highs and lower lows. What it did was immediately find support and hold support. So found support, held support, and was not trending down. It's like, it's not looking like it's any good, and it wasn't doing crazy volume or anything, so it's like you're shorting a boring stock. I wish I could tell you that I liked it to the long side, didn't, but sometimes the best thing you can do is get out of the way, right? Like it's not the one that I was looking for, it's not the move that I was looking for, but also it's not taking an L because the trade's not doing what you expected it to do in that particular situation.
Ethereum down 11%.
Lexter just said Rivian earnings tonight.
Haha. Look what's happening to AMD right now. AMD is absolutely getting kicked right now as 250.51 coming into play. There it is. Yes, sir. Finally, nice movement, man. Now $7 in. We just talked about that banger on the TQs, and look at this. Now goes AMD breaking into the close, man. So we held this the whole day, and finally, big movements coming for advanced micro devices all the way back in. So there it goes. What's up, Skunk Funker? I like that one. Yeah, this has been a pretty good trade for me there today, as we got waxed on, waxed off early on all of this nonsense, and then boom, right back down into the bottom there. It's too bad because I literally had put in my break even on the day, and we just scalped out of it. I should have trusted the old instinct just a little bit more, but there it goes, man. Downside huge for advanced micro devices. We just basically covered it all right there. We have a few shares left. We just put bid enter. Now we'll get over to the desk and join us tonight as we get excited about what's to come here with basically murderer's row of earnings, right? I mean, there's so many names that we can talk about tonight and will talk about as we go over pretty much, Neil, like you just said, Rivian, Upstart, like pick your poison.
SMCI.
Yeah, there's like, no matter what you're trading, there's going to be something for you here today. So again, excited about all of that and excited to have everybody join us live. So get your popcorn ready for Adara, myself, and Brian in a matter of moments.
Absolutely, and speaking of which, I mean, with the market breaking lows, SMCI about to break low today, in its own right, down 6% going into their print. It does look like it. Look, we'll see what happens. I know in the poll, it's actually a little bit different from what I was expecting. 45% are saying green. On a day like today, you'd think there'd be a little bit more shell shock. NASDAQ down 2%, AMD flushing going into the close, Nvidia down 4%, breaking support, SMCI down 6%. I mean, I can go the list over and over again. Not much bullish, but half of you like AMD tomorrow. I'm in the other half. I'm in that 55%.
Oh, it was half-half.
But, well, it's been 45 to 55. I mean, that's 50-50. That's close enough. 1,300 votes we have. Yesterday, it was green that everyone thought for Palantir. That ended up in the other direction as well. But it does go to show that I think we have an overly bullish audience. Like, to me, it being 50-50 when the chart looks like that means that you guys are relatively bullish. And that's how you, in a general sense, I think you should be bullish as a default stance. But I don't like the valuation here. If you don't like the valuation of Palantir, that's one, obviously it's in its own right. AMD, it's just a comparison to Nvidia, which has gotten a little bit out of whack. And on top of that, this is 50% from, like, we're the start of November. This is 50% move in 1 month going into earnings. That's a lot. I don't care how good your earnings are. That's a difficult thing to overcome, especially when a market looks like it's attempting to pull back. And with what Palantir did today, sort of a similar story, straight shot to the upside, very linear move to the upside. That is a reversal type candle. Maybe it means a temporary top for the market. We'll see. John Tranum, you could be right. It could be AMD cycle, not Nvidia. That's absolutely possible that a bit of the torch is being passed. They have a chance to prove that tonight. And the best part about it? You're going to get to see it real time when they report, I believe, at 4:15 or whenever it does happen. And Darren and Sean will have it. Brian Shaney will be able to get his thoughts as well. So, Chef Joe tends to agree. Some people like puts, some people like calls. That's the best thing about the market, is that you can take your shot either way. The only time people lose is when it doesn't do anything and then shakes us all out. I think that's pretty unlikely here for advanced micro devices. 7% move expected here. We'll get them about 15 minutes after the bell. BP says 275. PMAX says 275. That would be 10% to the upside from here. I would say best of luck. It's always pricey to try to play options around earnings. Gets really expensive. Wouldn't be my cup of tea as well. Some people say stay out of it. I would tend to agree with that. Lots of bleed, and it's still going down. You're heading to that 250 even. It looks like. You know what though? I'll give you a kernel of hope. Yesterday, Palantir was trending up going into the print, and then did that to you. At least with AMD, it's been selling going into the print. I'll grant you that one. I still think it's headed to the downside. Less than 1 minute to go, everybody. The poll's still about 45% of you think that advanced micro devices are going to be green by the open tomorrow. As I said, that's the horse that I will be backing. Although not with a real bet. I did sell twice in the last couple of weeks here, raising some cash, specifically in AMD. So it'll be pie in my face if it goes to the upside. Though I was needing to trim something, and I had to come up with a name, and it was AMD that I decided. Less than 15 seconds before we drop this bell. It is an earnings bonanza. Love earnings season, but specifically SMCI and AMD in the chip space. We'll get them soon. In 3, 2, and 1, we ring the closing bell. So it was a tricky one early on if you were short. If you were patient today, it absolutely paid dividends. So that's the lesson of today really is if you believe in the short, allow it to set up. Because once it did, it absolutely worked fine. Lumen down 11% now. And I lost on it this morning to make it back in the afternoon. That's how it works. AMD was a clean short up top there. SMCI is going to be potentially a bigger mover than even AMD, down 6%. We're going to have Coursera actually just reported. So I'm going to get you guys to the desk because the earnings are already starting to come through. We got Sean, we got Adara, and special guest, Mr. Shannon himself of VWAP fame. Your market recap show starts now. Good luck on all your plays.
Here we go, Adara. How are you doing?
I am here, and I'm ready to cover some earnings for you guys. How are you?
Good. Green sweater today.
The market said,
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We had that talk before about red v green, purple on Fed days. We like.
I've been doing that lately.
Yeah,
that was actually your idea.
Oh, why? Okay.
I liked it.
All right. So Nvidia and AMD. Okay, there goes AMD right now. Breaks through 250 finally. We had this trade. Amgen's out right now as well. So there's going to be basically this show is brought to you by Global X. Thank you so much for that sponsorship as well. Their Beta Pro product, absolutely great. There we go. Amgen up 4% right now, up to 308 and change. It's AMD that's starting to hit the skids right now early. Now, we've already talked about this name throughout the whole freaking day. We were short early, we were short late, we were short all day, and there goes AMD bye-bye through 250 and heading lower as the destruction of AI continues here before earnings. Now, we are expecting to get this one at 4:15, so a little bit late of a call here for AMD after hopefully some other names start to come through. We're waiting for Rivian, I think, is going to be a big one as well. That's been getting clobbered. There goes AMD, man. It is getting crushed right now. I just saw 247 print for advanced micro devices. It might not seem like a big, huge deal, but right now in the after hours, there's not too much liquidity here. So that just easily went down. The spread right now, $1 and change right now on AMD. If you're going to go level 1 to level 2, let's watch out to see what winds up happening. And let's remember, before earnings, AMD down roughly 4%. So we'll use that as our marker here, Adara. And I'm sure that Nvidia continuously going lower as well. Now that we've broken through that $200 mark, let's see if Nvidia can get going one more time. Look, the purpose of this show is not to cover the market today or anything like that, but we will cover big stories that had happened today and then big stories that happened here after hours. And the big story today was the NASDAQ, as the NASDAQ and the ES both hit slides, right? I mean, down over 2% in the NASDAQ and going lower as we speak right now. Q's down over 2% today. S&P 500 also downside. Can't wait to talk about this with Brian, see what he's thinking right now. S&P only down 1.16. A lot of that has been held off with XLF and the financials. They were actually holding pretty good today. The financials up 0.54 in a very red market, which is why we always talk about being diversified, right? We had names like Uber come out with their report earlier this morning, Adara, which wasn't horrible, and they wind up the day only down 5%. They were down much worse than that, bouncing off $90 for Uber. Good recovery for them.
Yeah, I guess Uber longs have to say thank you very much, Dara, who, again, that was the intended recipient of Trump's comment.
Right.
He just said it like Dara, so that's why we've made that my turn. But either way, yeah, I think as Jensen Huang called him, Dara K has done a really good job with UBER. That is evident. And I was saying this on the midday. I mean, it's not a perfect report. And I do think from personal experience, and the chat backed me up on this, I think they might have some issues here specifically from, I guess, class action lawsuit concerns with their Uber One subscription. We talked about how people are having a hard time unsubscribing from Prime. Sean, I accidentally subscribed for Uber One, and I can't for the life of me figure out how to unsubscribe. And people in the chat were saying, same experience. So
I know how to unsubscribe from
Oh, really? Okay, I mean, I don't, the point I'm trying to make is...
It's tough.
Yeah, right? That could maybe be a thing for them, given that was a thing for Amazon, but that's not really relevant. I just wanted to mention that with Uber, because other than that, the report was really good. Amgen Q3 revenue, that was a double beat. Guys, here's our fun little rainbow infographic looking at all of these different companies. 4:05 p.m., as you can see, we're gonna get the bulk of them. ANET, as far as I can tell, has reported. I'm not seeing the numbers, but Amgen did give us a nice little double beat. And I'll read through those numbers for our friend AMGN. Again, that was our sole name at 4 o'clock. They reported earnings of $5.64 per share, above estimates of $5.01. Sales, $9.557 billion versus $8.967 billion expected, raising their fiscal 2025 GAAP EPS guidance well above estimates now, Sean. They're guiding between $13.76 per share to $14.60. Estimates, $11.36. So their lower end of their guide is already beating by $2.50.
Everything's coming out right now. Canada's budget is now out. Deficit of just $78 billion. Oh, Canada. There goes Axon right now. Axon Enterprises down 13%, getting downside right now as Axon, as that continues to get hit here as well. We do have Upstart Adara. That's going to be a big name that there's a lot of traders looking for information on as well. As there goes Upstart, downside, another 11% right here for Upstart, getting hit to that downside, as I'm hearing all about the Canadian budget in our ear, which is fine. They just dropped the budget. So that's why I'm hearing about that. But there goes Upstart, nice downside move. I did hear 13,000 or so for a delivery number for Rivian. I don't see that they're out yet. So right now, Rivian down 4.3%. That was pretty much the day. It's actually ticking up here as we get ready. So you have the Rivian numbers?
Yeah, so I mean, the deliveries would just be echoing. I guess they have to be forecasting for next quarter or echoing last quarter. But they did report losses of 96 cents per share. That did outpace losses of 85 cents expected. So larger than expected loss per share. That is a miss. Sales, 1.558 billion, beating estimates of 1.501 billion expected. In Supermicro, guys, they reported earnings. SMCI, take a look here at the chart, and I'll also show you what we were expecting here. I made a handy little infographic on this topic. SMCI plummeting. Now, to be clear, they actually just adjusted their guidance about a week or so ago. SMCI, Sean, adjusted EPS 35 cents, missing estimates of 41 cents. SMCI Q1 adjusted gross margin 9.5%, below estimates of 9.63%. And their Q1 net sales $5.02 billion, Sean. That is more than $1 billion below estimates of $6.09 billion. SMCI, unfortunately, giving us another super macro miss.
I don't know what's going on here, but there goes SMCI down.
It's a triple miss.
Okay, triple miss.
Gross margin too.
We don't have too many triple misses right now. Wow, yucky for them, man. Big move down, $42 right now for SMCI, getting absolutely destroyed right now as SMCI. They went out to today at $47, sorry. Now down to 42, and Club City right now. I don't know how you like your sandwiches, but if you like a club sandwich, then today's a good day for you. Nice move to the downside on SMCI. We want to focus on some of the bigger names, obviously, that have come through. So I think we did a good talk there on Rivian. We did a good talk there on SMCI. It's AMD that we wait for. Now, we are approximately 7 or 8 minutes away from AMD at 4:15. So when that comes through, oh boy, they're the ones that are going to have to save the market, it seems like, because it's not happening with your friend Smicky, I think. Was that yours? You used to call it that?
Sharif started it.
Oh, Sharif did, okay.
And then I called it while I briefly traded it when it was like $400, $600.
Right, and then it split out, right?
And
so
now I'm like,
there it goes, man. $42.95 right now for SMCI. Not a great report for them. You just called it a triple miss. I'm actually trying to scan through here, not scam through, to find those reports from SMCI. But they are continuously going lower here, trying to bounce off of a decent level. Maybe $40 on the daily here for SMCI winds up holding. I want to thank everybody who's watching right now. Over 6,000 of you. Please join the chat. Get involved right now. Upstart was another name that had reported today as well. They're starting to bounce back a little bit. They were down 12%, down into 41, now back up to $45. I'll scan through, see if we have any Upstart news. But it's SMCI right now that is sort of leading the way to the downside. This is what their numbers look like for SMCI. Not great rate there. I'll call it back up. Yeah, you're going to have them in a second, but it's adjusted EPS 46 to 54 versus 61 moving forward. And then there it is right there. Actually, they see their sales actually a little bit bit higher, between 10 to 11 versus 7 in change. So there's a little bit of a light there for SMCI, but not a great number for them at all.
Tempest.
Downside. So Tempest now out as well. So TEM for Tempest. Let's go over here and have a quick look at what they're doing. It doesn't look like we got a huge amount of volume, but there they go as well, down 12%. So we got to say a big shout out to Nancy Pelosi. This is a stock that's in her account.
Kathy, too.
And Kathy, we're not too worried about. But it's SMCI right now. Yeah, Kathy Wood's been making some plays. And actually, we should stop saying that because the ARQ ETF, that's autonomous, has been doing quite well. So has the robotics. The robotic names as well have been doing quite well near the high. It's what, ARKK. Her main fund there, the innovation, is the one that everybody focus on. We actually have Brian on the show here. He's not a big fan of Kathy Wood, so maybe we'll pass on that. But we are getting ready for advanced micro devices, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be a big report. Here it is, AMD. It did, in the after hours, break that 250 mark. The numbers we're looking for out of AMD is an EPS estimate of $1.17. We're waiting for revenues of $8.7 billion. The expected move, 7.5%. So what do you got for that, Adara?
I have an awesome, cute little infographic of Lisa Su in her iconic Pepsi blue suit. You can find this on X at TTV Research. And as you can see, this also has their last report. So last quarter, AMD narrowly missed EPS, but they did beat here on revenue and their net income up substantially on a quarter-over-quarter basis. So interesting look there for AMD as we await their earnings. People asking me about Axon. That was an EPS miss, revenue beat. Dijon Mustard, I just want to let you guys know, it looks like you already replied in the chat. McDonald's reports tomorrow morning. AppLovin reports tomorrow after the bell. And expect an AppLovin earnings preview infographic coming soon. I can go over Rivian, which is one that I don't think
let's do that.
For a while. So Rivian, as I mentioned, they actually beat on revenue, and it's up 78% year over year. Give them a pat on the back. 1.56 billion revenue versus 1.49 bill expected. Adjusted losses per share were a little bit lesser than expected, but non-adjusted losses, as I mentioned, that was a miss. Vehicles delivered for the quarter beat estimates, but we already knew about that. Same with production. Same deal. Cash equivalents, 4.44 billion. That is up from estimates of 4.09 billion. And yeah, outlook, not seeing how that compares to estimates, but they're expecting to deliver 41,500 to 43,500 vehicles in the year 2025.
All right, we are now, again, 3 minutes away from AMD earnings. So we are getting really excited for all of that. Kava Group, get your Mediterranean bowls and whatnot ready to go. They miss on EPS by only 1 cent and miss on sales. And of course, not doing too much here for Kava. So that's what they're doing. I just wanted to bring that up because I saw the numbers like, oh my gosh, that's bad. And then I went over there and it was okay. Good talk on Rivian. I wonder if it's time to buy this name. We'll talk about this with Randy tomorrow on the show, but they've really held 13. So it looks like right now, if you're going to try to take advantage of the EV market, maybe it's Rivian now with a decent report, starting to head back up to the upside. Remember, they were down 5% today, now making that move higher. So it's still going to look like we are down, but it is catching a little bit of a bid here on those numbers, thanks to Dara. SMCI, I think, is the real story that everybody wants to talk about right now. SMCI hitting it down to the downside there. Their actual guide for sales was a little bit better, but again, their EPS in range now, lower than expected. So not a great look there for SMCI. Possible shrapnel play, Dell, probably Dell getting hit right now as well. Oh man, I'm getting a little bit of a sore throat issue, but I think that's just from too much talking. Do you have a Halls?
I always have
not right now because it'll be too much when I'm talking to Brian, but maybe after I'll grab them from you. So that's Dell again. Thanks for offering. SMCI right here again coming back in, so that's a play. We do also have Amgen earnings, so we got some good moves up there in the biotech space lately with Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, some good stories. AbbVie's been a good story as well. But look at Amgen. It was all the way up and it's faded back almost all the way to where we were before. Amgen only up that 1.88% right now. All right, it is moments away. What will Lisa Su and company do? I actually think this is much bigger right now than anything we saw last week. And the reason why is is such a dramatic move over the last couple days in the space. There's worry about AI. There's talk here that maybe the bubble is for real. We did have a big short, or apparently put on by Michael Burry into Nvidia. Forget about the Palantir short. It's more about Nvidia. Who has the you-know-whats to short that? Apparently he does. And today we get Nvidia downside, not that much, depending on when you put your short on and whatnot. But Nvidia here in the after hours, guys, is getting hit even more. This is not great, down 5% nearly here for NVDA. But all right, now we are now 1 minute away. So let's have a quick look at what's expected here for AMD. We're waiting for $1.17. That's going to be the EPS number. We're waiting for a revenue estimate, current revenue estimate of $8.72 billion. So when those numbers hit, we're hoping for greater than 117 EPS and greater than 8.7 billion on revenue. But again, the guide will be very key. Adara is right on and all over all of those names. Another popular name, Pinterest. They already reported today. And bye-bye Pinterest right now. Slap the fail on those guys. Down to 27 and change. Right now goes Pinterest. All right, it is now time for AMD time. So let's go over there and see if, are they out? Uh-oh, they maybe are out. There goes AMD. We just touched 242 for advanced micro devices. We will get those numbers as soon as they do hit. Adara's looking for them. Right back up to 250. So we go uh-oh to yay to uh-oh again. Now back down into 245 for advanced micro devices, Adara. There it goes, man, down 6%. We're looking for, again, $1.17 and 8.7 billion on that number. What do we got? There it is. Now AMD turns green.
Massive revenue beat. That's
perfect.
From what I'm seeing, they reported revenue here of $9.25 billion. That is apparently record quarterly revenue, and it's above estimates of $8.74 billion. Q3 adjusted earnings $1.20 per share versus estimates of $1.17. Again, that's adjusted earnings. That's what I'm seeing so far. Q3 revenue, again, $9.2 billion. Gross margin up. Gross margin was 52%. Here, operating income, $1.3 billion. Net income, $1.2 billion. And then, and again, on a non-GAAP basis, we did have that $1.20 per share. So here are the numbers. I do want to recap. We beat on EPS, and we beat heftily on revenue. That is record quarterly revenue for advanced money duplicator, or whatever
Seems like that. Yeah, no, it's been a great trade for AMD off those bottoms. That is for sure. And it looks like, I mean, we don't have the EPS guide yet. No, right, we just have the numbers. They're just out. So here it is right here. EPS 120. We talked about that beat. We have written down here 116. We had 117. Either way, a beat there. And there's the sales number. Big beat actually on sales, as Adara's talked about there. So it does look like, I don't know if it's Mighty Mouse or not, but it's here to save the day. And it looks like AMD for now has stopped any sort of downslide here in the chip space. But I don't know if that move is over or not. So right now, advanced micro devices, we're going to wait to see what that looks like. Because remember yesterday, we had a big move in Palantir yesterday at this time. It went up to 222 and then got faded right there yesterday, right here. And then they started to guide, came through, and we saw what happened today. Palantir down 9% on the day. But it's AMD right now with a great posted number. And, you know, I think the sales is a great number, plus the EPS. We knew that they were going to have a good quarter. I mean, again, they got to book some of those numbers. And it looks like it's good. So now we have guidance. It's now out. Adara's got it. And the number must be good, Adara, because now here we go. Will AMD actually turn positive heading back through 253 as we speak?
It is good. I also want to mention they did miss on margins this quarter. Adjusted operating margins 24% versus 24.8% expected, which is the type of thing that can hurt companies like this in the semiconductor space that have a lot of hype around them. Q4 revenue, $9.3 billion to $9.9 billion is what they're guiding. That is above estimates of $9.21 billion. So lower end of their guide and the higher end of their guide, obviously both above estimates. This is a solid look here for AMD, I must say. If the only issue was a slight miss on operating margin, not too bad.
Okay, good. Yeah, it looks pretty good after all. So I want to thank everybody for watching, man. Give a big thumbs up. Give a subscribe to the show. We want to also thank Beta Pro and Global X. We are waiting for Brian Shannon to come through. As soon as he's there, we are going to get the okay from Fabian. So moments away from that from happening. We're going to ask him all about crypto. We're going to ask him about what was going on with Bitcoin today and IBIT, and obviously Ethereum as well, as that continues their slide. Here's what current look right now on Bitcoin, as IBIT is obviously moving in the after hours as well. $100, hopefully not. 100,000 right now trying to hold. We did dip as low as $99. And Ethereum today does make a low bid as well. Wow, Ethereum, bad day today. Down to $3,100 and been absolutely crushed on a daily look here for ETH, now breaking well below. This is why, and Brian, and I'm going to steal it from him, but the penalty box, right? I mean, we are not out of that. This continues to go lower. We're going to at least need to take the 200 period before we get excited about that one. Thanks, Tom Lee. I wonder where your call is now. What is he calling? 25,000 on Ethereum? Let's see if and when that comes in for that. I mean, again, just got to believe in it. I'm not just trying to, you know, hit. There's a lot of people that are long Bitcoin, ETHA as well, and Solana. Some of these other names, man. I mean, I think Brian and I were talking kindly of Solana, and that one has been really hit as well. It's not just a Ethereum and a Bitcoin type of a play. I just want to get it off a decent spot. There it is. Wow, down to 150 again is Solana, man. This goes all the way back to April levels again for Solana. Made a nice high of 250. Who sold there? Not I say. Let me go over and talk to the man, the myth, the legend. It is Trader Talking, Brian Shannon. Let's bring him on. Hi, Brian. Thanks for rejoining us here this week. How have you been?
I've been good, Sean. You know, we're getting some volatility, and it's not the best swing trade environment, obviously.
Right.
So I've been sitting on my hands a little bit. The crypto is kind of heating up here and providing a little bit more opportunity. So I've been a little bit more focused on that today, although the short side was great after a VWAP rejection.
So why, let's just go back to that first statement that you made there, not a great environment here for swing trading. So what are some of the things that you look at? Because for me, like, we're getting a spike in the VIX. Generally speaking, a lot of traders would prefer to see the market moving around a little bit, but I guess it's style dependent. For me, earnings season, I think, is the key thing here, why it makes it hard to put on positions. Is that what you're getting at, or what about the swing trade idea?
Yeah, I mean, we've got headline risk all day
Right.
long from earnings, of course. You know, AMD, are you going to gamble and hold overnight, or hedge yourself with options or whatever? But more realistically, Sean, it's been just the fact that the markets have kind of gone sideways and started to roll over a little bit. What I like to look for is to buy after pullbacks once they've settled down, kind of shown us where we can set our stops and, go back with the primary trend. But we're so far extended that it might take a little bit more time for this pullback to digest than we've seen previous ones, although we're still in a great long-term uptrend. It's just the low risk, high probability, long side setups haven't been there yet. So I'm just kind of going a little bit slower, smaller share size, that sort of thing.
All right, again, we are very thankful to have Brian Shannon at Alpha Trends. Go find him on X and on StockTwits as well as your website, an author of a couple books. And we want to thank you for sending some of those over here, and we love them. They're passed around our office all of the time. But yeah, here's the NASDAQ. I don't think it's time to cry wolf yet, though, right? I mean, we did have some topping moments up there, similarly to what we had here just a couple weeks ago around the 611 mark, where we fell back into the 50-period moving average. Is this a buy rate here, or are we going to give it a couple more weeks, let these earnings seasons settle down, and then wait for Nvidia? Maybe it's Nvidia that holds the key to this market. I'm not willing to dip by anything yet. We've talked about that on the show. Where are you in this recent move? Do we have more to go? I tend to think so, and I know it's going to be earnings based.
Yeah, I think, Sean, I mean, we've had such a phenomenal run higher, right? And we got a little bit extended here. This might end up being what they call an island reversal up here. It's not, don't get too caught up in the name of that. But, the first test is right here for the NASDAQ at about 612, that prior resistance. That's where we've got the 20-day moving average as well. So if that fails to hold, then maybe we come back all the way down to the 50-day moving average, which is only at 600. So, right. I mean, that's 3% lower from here. You can't really panic too much when that happens. The light is just cautious to, near-term red, because we saw the higher highs and higher lows with this rising 5-day moving average, and that's been broken. So now it's just, the market saying, just, go a little bit slower here, let things settle down, and let other people throw their money away trying to buy the dip and figuring out where the bottom is. I'll come in later.
Yeah, exactly. And I use a terminology that you use in your book as well, and you've used on the show, the penalty box. Wait till the penalty's over and the player has rejoined his or her said team. I just want to go over AMD quickly because their numbers weren't horrible, but right now AMD is hitting the lows. Let's go over here quickly, please, Fabian. There it goes. AMD right now back down through 245, looking to go lower. Brian, I got smoked earlier today trying to short this until eventually we were patient and found a top. I think patience pays in a market like this, right? I mean, as we continue to look for opportunities, maybe don't step in for the first few minutes, right? I mean, we saw Palantir today actually hit the skids pretty good early, all the way down to 186 before bouncing 10 complete dollars back there to the upside. So for me, this is a game of patience. What did you think about Palantir and some of the action today? Any thoughts moving forward on Alex Karp and company?
I really didn't pay too much attention to Palantir. To me, you know, the earnings were out. It's a news event. That's not my specialty. Right. I like to look at them after they've settled down, let other people, you know, it just gets too choppy for me because I don't have the attention span to sit there and, you know, day trade it and scalp it the way that you do, Sean. And, you know, there's a different style for everyone. But when you look at, you know, the daily chart here, it's pulled back perfectly to this prior resistance. So, and the 20-day moving average. So that initial sell-off, the bounce was justified in there because of that important level. Now let's see how it handles the next few days. Is this going to, you know, kind of settle down and rebuild and continue higher? Or are we going to see maybe something, you know, more along the lines of what Microsoft did after their big move and failed? So that's the danger, is that it could get Microsoft.
Okay.
Microsoft did.
Yeah, no, I mean, we love Microsoft. Have you seen the chart of Meta lately? I mean, Meta's almost down 27. I mean, unless it's bounced, it was down 27%, Brian. Oh yeah, there it is, down to 620. So yeah, that move continues. And I'm cherry picking because we're using the very top of $800, but from 800 down now $175 all the way in here. And we're looking for areas to buy this name, but is 620 a possible area? The smoke is not settled on Meta yet. Again, a good quarter, but they don't like all that spend. And as interest rates apparently go lower, I thought the cost of capital is supposed to get a little bit more cheap. So maybe Meta eventually finds a bottom in here. But to your point, why bother to trade anything that's near earnings when you get reactions like this? I mean, it was a decent quarter, but Meta still continues to fall down. So besides your point there on Microsoft, I really like that. I wanted to go to something that never reports. Gold.
Yeah, I know where we're going. Let me switch my screen over to Trading View here, and we will take a look, of course, at crypto is what you're talking about, Sean.
So I was going to go with crypto or even just GLD. Because right now, gold, Brian, is actually at, on my daily chart here, it's straight at the 50-period moving average. I recently bought this dip, and you know, I've bought it live on the show. So I took a first little stab here at 375. I kind of like that move down in. I'm so loaded up on tech that I thought to get a little bit different space with gold and hold something physical. So we're into gold right now, and I'm debating buying a little bit more right here on gold. I feel like there's a lot of traders that levered up here and maybe just got flushed down a little bit, waiting for some weak hands to lose it on GLD. Maybe we haven't seen that capitulated moment yet on gold. Any opinions on that name or on that asset?
I'm actually looking at this 350, 352 level, Sean, for a couple of reasons. It's a we've got the anchored volume weighted average price from the beginning of the move right here, this low in April. So that's that gold colored, and hopefully it's a golden VWAP. That's also where we see that dashed 50-day simple moving average. And then if we take the low of this August move rather, up to the all-time high, and we do a Fibonacci retracement, that's a 50% move. So I'm looking at 350, 352, thinking that maybe this is the next little leg lower. We're back down below that 5-day moving average. We never made a higher high above it. So 350, 352, I think, is the important zone for gold.
Okay. We have a lot of traders in the chat right here that are saying, Sean, shut up and let this guy talk about crypto. You've been nailing Ethereum. You've had some great calls. There's a lot of traders that are definitely watching your posts. And right now, I will bow down to everybody in our chat because you are the man in this space right now. Ethereum down 11.5%. The floor is yours, Brian. We could talk about any symbol you want. We could go for the big guys, you know, Solana, whatever you want to talk about. But the floor is yours on crypto. A lot of people in the chat want to hear your opinion on the last couple days' moves.
Sure. Let's take a look at the big three, I guess, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. We'll run through them pretty quickly. This is, the last couple of weeks, I've been pointing to this zone right in here. The orange is the anchored volume-weighted average price from the election. Blue is the year-to-date. And I said this is where it seems likely it's going to head down to. We're there now, and we're actually below it. I've purchased a little bit, a starter piece. I've got a 30% long position. What I'm really hoping for is that we undercut this low right here from May. Yeah, that was May. And that's about 98 and change. So I'd love to see it flush below there. Then I think we get the violent bounce. It's still not there yet. I've got bigger bids in down near that 98 level. Ethereum, I've also started to buy. This is the zone that I've been circling for the same reasons. Blue is the year-to-date anchor. Orange is from the election. That green one is off the April low. And the dashed line is the 200-day simple moving average. None of these are, providing support so far. I've scaled in slowly, 3380, 3250, and 2 units at 3130 gives my average cost of 3222 there. And I'm hoping that we flush down underneath 3,000 overnight, then begin a bounce. Right. I'm looking for it to bounce maybe up to 3,500 or so. Solana. This one is one that had been continually finding buyers along this anchor. And I traded 3 of these. I didn't trade that last one. And now it's broken. We're down to the anchor off of the beginning of this really bigger move from late 2023, and that's not holding. I think that Solana is the broken one, that even if you get a bounce, it's got the most natural source of supply up in here at about 175-ish. So I'm sticking strictly to Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and my favorite is probably Ethereum. I have more money allocated toward going towards that one.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Brian, because often when there is sort of this blood in the street, it is good to focus on just a couple names and not look everywhere, because obviously the whole space continues to go downside on that one. We saw not a great report from Coinbase. That's also starting to go lower. All right, Dare, did you want to hop in here? Because we do have another question from the audience.
Hey, Brian, thank you for being here with us today.
Hey,
we have Drop Systems in the chat asking about a name that's reporting tomorrow night after the bell, Robinhood. What are your thoughts on this name, sort of adjacent to the crypto space, and they just were added to the S&P 500?
Let me pull that screen up very quickly and share that. So let's take a look at Hood here. And
let's look at what's under the hood.
I think we're in danger here. This is, it's just kind of starting to stall out. I wouldn't be surprised to see it come down towards 120. Maybe this ends up being a double top. You can't call it one yet, but under, so maybe it cuts under 120. And it's just had such a huge run that to expect it to continue to move higher on earnings is difficult for me to believe. I think it's going to be, probably pretty similar to Palantir, that we're up in nosebleed territory, and even good news is likely to get sold into. So I would be a little bit cautious on this one. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
I think that's what our audience wants, right? Is a good look from technical standpoint on some of these names. I really like SoFi. I think that's a good name moving forward. All right, Brian, we've all thrown numerous ideas at you, numerous names. Let's leave here with some ideas, or 1 or 2 names that you're looking at. Again, everyone can go find Brian over on X. You can see the little bumper there at Alpha Trends as well on StockTwits. So you've given us some great names, man. You had SoundHound a while ago. That was on fire. Obviously, all this talk about crypto as well. So what are you looking forward to here over the next week or so, or the time frame's up to you?
Yeah, Sean, I'm not really very enthused with things. I mean, you look at things like Meta, and it gaps down on earnings, and everyone thinks it's overdone. And it was, testing the anchor from the April low, is testing the 200-day moving average. It couldn't hold the year-to-date anchor. It just keeps getting the snot kicked out of it day after day after day here. And now we're seeing a lot of these other names falling on earnings. I think we're in a period where it's likely we start to see a little bit more profit taking. So I'm going to take maybe a little bit of a chicken route, some people might say, but I think it's more I'm listening to the message of the market and saying just be careful with new purchases in here because the earnings aren't getting rewarded the way they have in previous quarters. We're very extended, and people are starting to really take this government shutdown seriously in terms of it starting to mess things up in the country. So I'm just a little bit more cautious and waiting for evidence of where the buyers actually are.
Yeah, great call. We actually forget to talk about the government shutdown on most days, but what an important aspect there, of course, for everyone in the United States and the markets in general as we look to get retail back going. Some of the retail names have also been hit there. We have McDonald's tomorrow morning. That should be a good look as well on the consumer. Brian, we're running a little bit late, but I want to thank you for joining us one more time. There we go. David says, amen, Brian. So thank you so much. Get into the chat. I don't know if you're in it right now, but if you want to stay a couple extra minutes, Brian's here. Thank you so much. They can go find you, of course, on X or on StockTwits. You have a great audience there as well and a great following. So thank you again, Brian. Be well. Any plans tonight or anything?
My niece has a field hockey game that is a championship thing, so I think that's the plan. Then some Mexican food.
Yes, sir. Wow. Okay, I'm coming over right there. Sounds like a lot of fun. And again, a lot of thanks in the chat for you, Brian. So thank you again for coming on and all of that talk. Enjoy the Mexican food there tonight and say what's up to your niece. And I hope she's able to lift said trophy tonight. That's Brian Shannon. Thank you so much. Have a good one. We'll check you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
That's Brian Shannon. All right, Trader Talk now done with. Thank you so much, Brian. AMD here going out near the lows, Adair, unfortunately, on not a horrible report. We actually had them double beating and guiding and everything. It was good for advanced micro devices, but still hitting the skids a little bit here, down to 244 and change. All right, so I'm off tonight because, I'm got to get out of here ASAP. My son has, when you're in grade 8 and you got to choose your high school, you could choose 3 different schools that you want to go to. So you're guaranteed the one in your area, so whatever one your catchment is. So you definitely get to go somewhere. It's funny because the school that he gets to go to is Runnymede, which is the same one that Drake went to.
No, actually?
Yep, yeah, exactly. And Drake played, so I actually coach in High Park, and Drake played High Park Little League.
Really? Because at one point he then moved on to Degrassi High, as we know.
Yeah, exactly. That's
so,
funny.
or Degrassi
Good
Community
one.
School,
I like that one there. But anyway, so he's looking at film studies.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, so he's excited for that. So maybe he can come in one day and see what's going on here. But it's an application process. So you got to submit all this stuff. So this, for me, is if I could put Adara back into, grade 8, 7, 8, is there a sort of a profession or something that you thought maybe, because I know it's probably not stock market related back in the day, but maybe the two-shot, Fabian, this is what you thought you might have been back in the day?
Still would have been film or writing, I think.
Okay, film or writing. Perfect.
Yeah,
boom.
pretty
Great.
consistent.
But film, I mean, I know you're always writing. Are you working on anything right now?
Yeah, I have been working on a script. My friend and I, who I met through a writing program at George Brown, which is a college here, he and I basically do like a weekly exchange. Like we'll watch movies, give ideas kind of for writing inspiration. We'll read each other's stuff. I'm working on a script there. I've been a little delayed because it's always very busy here. But yeah, just working on that right now. Yeah, it's been nice. Cool, good. Well, we'll look forward to Adara hitting the silver screens very, very soon. AMD now 241. All right, that's enough from us. That's Adara. I'm Sean. Make sure you do join us all. Thank you, Beta Pro and Global X, for their sponsorship once again of this program. And a big thank you to everybody watching. And of course, my favorite guest. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're all my favorite, but I really love having Brian on. Thanks, Brian Shannon. Go find him at Alpha Trends. That's Adara. I'm Sean. Ciao to tomorrow, 8:30. See you then. See you.